Chapter 5977. The Thunderclap Emperor was completely enraged. The lightning in his hand formed into the Thunder God's spear, and he swung it forward. This was his opponent's unique skill, and it was much more powerful than before. The surrounding people all exclaimed in surprise. In their opinion, Lin Xian might not be able to block it. After all, the Thunderclap Emperor's power was too terrifying. Lin Xian performed the 6 paths of Reincarnation Fist, and the terrifying fist killed his opponent. It clashed with the Thunder God Spear. It actually knocked all the Thunder God Spears away. It was so powerful, the surrounding people exclaimed, and Heavenly Tao Supreme and the others frowned. He had fought with the Thunderclap Emperor before, so he naturally knew how terrifying the Thunder God Spear was. In his opinion, an ordinary great emperor would not be able to block it. However, Lin Xian casually knocked it away with his fist. Could it be that this kid has become so powerful? Is this all you've got? Lin Xian withdrew his fist, shook his head, and said, "You're so weak. Higan, you've really disappointed me." Stupid thing. The Thunderclap Emperor was also angry. "Young man, I admit that you're very powerful and rare among the great emperors. However, you shouldn't have provoked me, because I'm not someone you can imagine." The Thunder God Claw. He reached out his hand and grabbed forward. Above his palm, endless lightning and immortal chi filled the air. It was like the hand of the Thunder God reaching out from the 9 heavens' immortal palace. Lin Xian snorted, and the divine fire on his body flickered, forming a fire god to fight against it. The collision between the Thunder God and the Fire God was like a real battle between 2 gods. The terrifying and destructive power swept in all directions. He blocked it again. The surrounding people were stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so terrifying. Not only that, Lin Xian blocked his opponent with a punch and at the same time attacked again. He waved his hand, took out the immortal slaying sword, and slashed forward. This sword had the power to destroy heaven and earth, and it had the power to break the sky. The slash landed on the body of the Thunderclap Martial Monarch, causing a tear to appear on his battle robe. The Thunderclap Emperor's expression changed. He turned into a flash of light and dodged quickly. He retreated to the back, and his face darkened. What a sharp sword. What's going on with this kid? How could he be so powerful? Emperor Baiyu rushed over and said, "Thunder, be careful. He is Lin Wudi, the successor of the 9 sons. Furthermore, he was also the successor of the Great Dragon Sword." So it was him. Realization dawned on the Thunderclap Monarch. No wonder he was so powerful. Was it this brat who had gone against them so many times? The Great Dragon Sword is indeed extraordinary, but it's a pity that it's in his hands. I'll take it from him. Great Emperor Baiyu said, "Let's work together to avoid any more trouble." After all, there were quite a number of people from the Palace of Paragon here. The Thunderclap Emperor nodded his head in agreement. The Paragon Palace was indeed a troublesome faction to deal with. Moreover, no one knew when the people from the God Realm would come. Therefore, they were prepared to join forces. Great Emperor Baiyu, Great Emperor Bumia, and several other great emperors in the distance all walked over. They stood together. Their auras were so terrifying that they could destroy everything. After reading it, Lin Xian laughed heartily. Team up again. The youngest among you is tens of thousands of years old, and the oldest has lived for hundreds of thousands of years. You haven't learned anything except being shameless? Isn't the other world Heavenly King high and mighty? Isn't it the Supreme Overlord? You can only work together with the young man to deal with me. The other world Heavenly King really disappoints me. Everyone's expression changed drastically. The Thunderclap Monarch was even more furious. "How dare you challenge the other world Heavenly King? You're courting death." Lin Xian said, Why can't I challenge you? Who can defeat me in a one-on-one fight? At that moment, he was extremely arrogant. Countless experts, including Great Emperor Baiyu, were at a loss for words. Indeed, several great emperors from the otherworld Heavenly King had been defeated by him one after another. There was nothing they could do. Could it be that the otherworld Heavenly King was going to be defeated? Impossible. They were the supreme and most powerful beings. How could they lose to him? You want to fight one-on-one? I'll grant you your wish. At this moment, another voice came from the sky. Then, with a flash of lightning, another wave of lightning descended. Then, a handsome man walked out. Someone else is here? Who is this man? He's so young. Is he also a young man? When the surrounding utmost being experts saw this scene, they exclaimed in shock. This man was unfamiliar. Great Emperor Baiyu and the Thunderclap Emperor exclaimed, "Why are you here too, Mr. Lei Yi?" The other supreme beings exclaimed, "Mr. Lei Yi, is he also from the otherworld Heavenly King?" Oh, heavens! Another great emperor from the otherworld Heavenly King has arrived. No wonder they're the supreme overlord. Their foundation is too strong. Who are you? Tell me your name. I don't kill nameless people. Lin Xian looked at him and said coldly, "You're courting death. He's from the otherworld Heavenly King, Mr. Lei Yi." The Thunderclap Emperor roared. Never heard of him. Lin Xian was annoyed. What Tom, Dick, and Harry? Do I have to know all of them? Great Emperor Baiyu was also angry. Young man, you're too reckless. Do you know that Mr. Lei Yi is the grandson of the virtual immortal of the otherworld Heavenly King? His strength and identity are not something you can imagine. The grandson of a Heavenly King? The surrounding people were shocked. They knew that the virtual immortal was a person who became an immortal. Even Lin Xian was stunned. He was familiar with the name virtual immortal. He had never seen this person before, but he had some contact with him. In hell, 10-Crown King, the Heavenly Prung, was suppressed. It was the doing of the virtual immortal. 100,000 years ago, the 10-Crown King, a peerless expert of the Dragon Clan, was also suppressed by the immortal beheading sword. The dragon-slaying sword was also from the virtual immortal. This person was very strong and called himself a Heavenly King. Moreover, he liked to suppress the 10-Crown King. Unexpectedly, this time, the Heavenly King did not appear, but his grandson did. Moreover, the Heavenly King's grandson was a great emperor. It had to be said that the Heavenly King's foundation was very deep. One had to know that the sons of great emperors usually could not become great emperors. However, even the grandson of a virtual immortal had become a great emperor. It seemed that a virtual immortal was much stronger than a great emperor. Could it be that he was really a Heavenly King? But were there really Heavenly Kings in the world? Were Heavenly Kings immortal? Lin Xian did not know any of this, but he was ready to make a move. As the 10-Crown King, Lin Xian was ready to take some interest from the virtual immortal's grandson. On the other side, Great Emperor Baiyu also said, "Young Master Yi, are you going to make a move?" "Great. However, you have to be careful. This kid is the successor of the Great Dragon, the successor of the 9 Sons. Moreover, he has the power of reincarnation. More importantly, he is the 10-Crown King." Hearing this, Lei Ye's eyes flashed with a cold light. Does he have so many trump cards? No wonder he dares to compete with us. However, don't worry, I can deal with the 10-Crown King. My grandfather loves to torture the 10-Crown King. This time, I'll capture him and present him to my grandfather. I think my grandfather will be very happy. As he spoke, Lei Yi walked forward. He looked at Lin Xian and said in a deep voice, "I'll give you a chance. Kneel down obediently. Admit defeat." Chapter 5978. Admit defeat? Apologize? I'll never be able to learn that in my lifetime. Lin Xian shook his head. Then he changed the topic. But I wonder what your grandfather's expression will be if you die. You dared to suppress 10-crown king of the dragon race. Today, I'll show you how powerful 10-crown king is. Lin Xian walked out with a powerful aura emanating from him. His 9 yang divine body swept out in all directions. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into the god of the sun, making the surrounding supremes exclaim. 10-crown king lived up to his name. However, could he really beat Lei Yi? He was the grandson of Immortal. He was taught by Immortal himself. How powerful must his immortal techniques be? Even the Thunderclap Emperor and the others were no match for him. Let's see if you're as arrogant as the legends say. Thunder God Finger. Lei Yi pointed his finger. The terrifying finger carried endless starlight that pierced through heaven and earth. This power seemed to be even more terrifying than the Thunderclap Emperor's lightning. 9 yang divine palm. One palm shook the sky. Lin Xian's palm pressed down like a heavenly monument, blocking the Thunder God Finger. It couldn't move forward. Lin Xian said coldly, "It's useless. Even if you're Immortal's grandson, you can't do anything to me." Slash. Lin Xian roared and spat out a ray of sword energy, cutting off the Thunder God Finger. The terrifying lightning was split in half. Lei Yi retracted his palm. There was a sword mark on his finger. His face darkened instantly. That was interesting. He stopped the bleeding, and then his eyes shone with cold light. In the past, someone accidentally hurt me. Guess what I did to him? I captured him and tortured him for 10,000 years. Every day, he lived a life worse than death. If you dare to hurt me today, I'll torture you for 100,000 years and let you live in despair forever. A cold voice was heard, and the surrounding great emperors felt their scalps go numb. It was too terrifying. This person's murderous intent was too terrifying. Whoever offended him would die without a doubt. Lightning fist. Lei Yi roared. His fist technique was astonishing. Thousands of fists with destructive power rushed towards Lin Xian. It completely enveloped Lin Xian's location. That place had completely turned into a black hole. Boom. Lin Xian snorted coldly as a huge, flaming figure emerged from the lightning. Then it opened its palms and tore the void apart. Lin Xian, in his god of 9 suns state, walked out like a supreme god of fire, walking on the earth. Every step he took caused the sky to crumble and the earth to crack. It was as if the divine fire could burn the 9 heavens. One had to admit that Lei Yi was indeed very strong. He was even more terrifying than a great emperor. But so what? Lin Xian would also let the other party know what it meant to be truly invincible. After tearing apart his opponent's lightning fist, Lin Xian attacked again, the 9 suns divine fist descending. 1,000 suns fell from the sky, and the rumbling sound spread out in all directions. Their fists collided in the air like a clash between lightning and fire. The martial monarchs and 9 heaven supremes immediately backed away. Their brows were tightly knitted together. Initially, they thought that young Master Lei, you would crush the other party. But now, they were evenly matched. This was truly shocking. Emperor Baiyu frowned. This lad is so strong. However, Shocking Thunder Emperor said, he can't believe in young Master Lei Yi. He hasn't even used his true immortal skill yet. Shocking Thunder Emperor was also an expert of the Tao of Thunder. When he was at the Permitha realm, he had sparred with young Master Lei Yi more than once. Naturally, he knew that young Master Lei Yi had many terrifying immortal skills. Once he used them, Lin Wuti wouldn't be able to defend against them. The battle ahead was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, 300 moves had passed. In just the blink of an eye, everyone was shocked. If it were any other 9 heaven supremes or great emperors, they would have been defeated long ago. The 2 of them were really terrifying. The ancient crocodile was also anxious. The situation didn't seem good. If this continued, they wouldn't have any hope of winning. Once the other party attacked them, They would be finished. He looked at the Saintess of the Six Paths and said, "Don't you have any other ideas?" The Saintess said, "Believe in the Master of Reincarnation. Since he came with the token, I believe that he is invincible. Please don't be naive, okay?" Shanghai Crocodile's face turned black. "Believe? You are just a remnant soul. It doesn't matter if you die. But they can't. If Lin Xian were to be defeated, all of them would probably be sent to hell." Hence, Shanghai Crocodile was extremely anxious, but there was nothing he could do. At the same time, outside the Reincarnation Mountain, another figure had arrived. It was also a tall and sturdy man. He was Lin Zhan. At this moment, he was walking with majestic steps. He wanted to land, but he was stunned. With a wave of his hand, endless laws gathered and formed a mirror that shone below. Xian was fighting. His opponent seemed to be someone from the Permitha realm. All right, I'll let them fight first. I'll see what Xian is at now. Lin Zhan didn't move immediately. Instead, he watched the battle from outside. There was another shocking battle in the Six Dao Gate. Then the two figures retreated and faced each other. Lin Xian scoffed. "You are only SOSO. Did your grandfather give you this much? You're such a piece of trash, grandson. You have a sharp tongue. Next, you will see a true celestial technique." Celestial technique. Thunderclap 8 Desolation. Boom. The moment he said that, everyone saw a flash of light. Then, an earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian was actually sent flying. What fast speed! The immortal emperor exclaimed. Supreme Being Wu Hui also asked what happened just now. Why did his speed increase so much? The Thunderclap Emperor laughed. Haha, young Master Lei Yi is finally serious. Thunderclap 8 Desolation was a top-tier movement technique. Even emperors might not be able to see it. Let's see how this kid will die. Lei Yi displayed his super speed and sent Lin Xian flying. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian retreated, his blood and qi churning. His brows were tightly knitted together. In the next instant, he felt like he was struck by lightning again. There were actually millions of strikes on his body. It caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. He flew out and crashed into a pile of ruins. Lei Yi appeared and scoffed. Did you see that? Kid, this is my true strength. When I get serious, you can't even keep up with my speed. What do you have to fight me with? 10 Crown King, that's all. If you don't become an emperor, you will always be trash. At this moment, Lei Yi was high and mighty. Countless people looked up to him. His speed was too fast. As expected of the grandson of a celestial, he was unimaginably strong. Not good. How did that kid get hurt? The ancient crocodile's face changed. He had never seen Lin Xian suffer a loss. He looked at the Holy Lady of the Six Paths. Why aren't you guys attacking? The Holy Lady of the Six Paths ignored the ancient crocodile. They only listened to the Master of Reincarnation. At this moment, if Lin Xian didn't ask them to stop, they wouldn't attack. Lin Xian walked out of the ruins and spat out a mouthful of blood. He smiled. Interesting. Is this your true strength? You didn't disappoint me. Now, I can show you my true strength. Chapter 5979. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the surrounding people went crazy. What did he mean? Could it be that this kid didn't show his true strength before? What kind of joke was this? Pretending to be mysterious? I don't believe that you're my opponent. Lei Yi snorted and punched again. His speed was so fast that no one was able to keep up with him. In their opinion, Lin Xian couldn't keep up with his speed at all. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a Taiji diagram flew out and surrounded him. In the face of such a terrifying speed, he didn't dodge at all. Was this kid scared out of his wits? He couldn't keep up with his speed at all. Great Emperor Baiyu and the Thunderclap Great Emperor sneered. Lei Yi appeared behind Lin Xian once again and threw out a punch. Go to hell. A cold voice sounded. The ancient crocodile and the others changed their expressions drastically. Not good. Zhong Lingxiu and the others were also anxious. Lin Xian was really at a disadvantage now. In the face of such an attack, Lin Xian sneered and let the punch hit him. In everyone's opinion, even if Lin Xian had the 9-yang divine body, he couldn't block this punch. But at this time, the Taiji diagram on his body changed. Buzz. The Taiji diagram rotated and condensed. A soft force directly bounced the punch away. A figure was sent flying backward. Lei Yu was also shocked. His qi and blood were tumbling. He was dumbfounded. What was going on? That punch just now seemed to have hit cotton. It didn't cause any damage to the other party at all. Instead, he was sent flying by a rebounding force. Damn it, I don't believe it. He attacked again. In the blink of an eye, he punched 100 million times. Boom. This attack covered Lin Xian's whole body, especially the vital parts. Once hit, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. However, these attacks were all bounced back by the Taiji diagram. What was going on? The thunderclap, Great Emperor roared. Great Emperor Baiyu also went crazy. This was impossible. The other Supremes also exclaimed. Was that the yin-yang diagram? How could it be so magical? It actually possessed the power of yin and yang. Lin Xian, who was wearing the Taiji cloak, threw his head back and laughed. Extreme speed. So what? You can't hurt me. No matter how fast you are. It's useless. Damn it. What kind of move is this? Lei Yi roared. Lin Xian sneered. Tai Chi. For tales to 1,000 caddies, the more you attack me, the more you will be repelled. So, even if you have extreme speed, you can't do anything to me. Taiji is truly miraculous. It is actually able to block my extreme speed. However, do you think that speed is all I have? My power of destruction is also not something that you can understand. Lightning continued to erupt from his body. His black hair danced in the wind. His combat strength was astonishing. At the same time, a blade of lightning appeared in his hand. With a slash, it shattered the world. Immortal technique, heavenly thunder slash. A peerless, immortal art flew out, shocking everyone. The great emperors also exclaimed, as expected of the grandson of a virtual immortal. This immortal technique is too terrifying. Can Lin Wuyi block it? In the face of such a terrifying blade technique, Lin Xian snorted and took out the immortal slaying sword. Heaven-defying sword technique. Immortal slaying sword. With a roar, sword chi erupted between heaven and earth. With an unparalleled power, it slashed out. An earth-shattering battle occurred between the two. The void kept shattering. The blade was actually broken. That's impossible. The surrounding great emperors were all stunned. Great Emperor Baiyu and Thunderclap Great Emperor exclaimed, "What a terrifying sword technique! What kind of weapon is that?" Young Master Lei Yu was also shocked. He kept retreating. He was dumbfounded. Lin Xian sneered, "You can't do it. I said that when I get serious, you won't be my opponent at all. Now, you know the difference between us." Hearing this, Lei Ye's face was extremely cold. "Good kid, you are indeed capable. But take another attack from me. Immortal art, 9-fold Thunderblade." The saber light in Lei Ye's hand continued to rise and fall like a clap of thunder. This time, it wasn't just one blade light. It was 9 blades of blade light. Moreover, with each additional blade light, the power would increase. In the end, it would be 9 times stronger. This was a peerless, immortal art. Its power was shocking. When the other great emperors saw this, their scalps went numb. They were afraid that they would have to avoid it. If they took it head-on, they would most likely die. Thunderclap, Great Emperor sneered. "Let's see how this kid is going to block it this time." The surrounding great emperors shook their heads and sighed. "No matter how strong your comprehension is, You won't be able to block such a blade technique." It seemed like he was going to dodge it. Dodge? Lin Xian sneered in disdain. Did he need to dodge? He was like a dragon, and his sword was like the wind. With one sword in hand, 10,000 swords returned to their origin. Facing his opponent's powerful ninefold thunderblade, Lin Xian waved his hand. Sword chi surged out from his body. The sword light that filled the sky was vast and mighty, sweeping in all directions. It was unbelievably powerful. At this moment, the dazzling sword light lit up heaven and earth. The surrounding great emperors all closed their eyes. They didn't dare to look at it. Boom! The ninefold thunderblade was hit by a strong impact. The heaven and earth were destroyed. The surrounding great emperors and great emperors all retreated. Even Lei Ye's face changed. He kept retreating. The void under his feet turned into a black hole. He retreated far away. There were a few more sword marks on his body. His face became extremely ugly. Was his peerless blade technique defeated by the opponent's sword chi? No. He roared to the sky, "I want you to die. No one is better than me." It was a beautiful wish. "Do you have the ability to kill me?" Lin Xian stood with his sword and sneered. "Kid, I admit that you're very strong. However, this time, I've brought along an absolute trump card with me. I didn't plan to use this trump card, but you are so unlucky. Well, I'll let you die under this move. To be able to die under the heavenly punishment sword, you should be proud." "What? Heavenly punishment sword?" The surrounding great emperors and great emperors were shocked. The heavenly punishment sword was one of the 5 swords in the world. It was said to be in charge of heavenly punishment. It had the world's heavenly Tao. More importantly, the heavenly punishment sword was said to be complete, and was at the Permitha realm. The others, like the great dragon sword and the reincarnation sword, were all broken. If the heavenly punishment sword really came, who would be able to defeat it? Great Emperor Baiyu and the thunderclap great emperor's faces were ugly. However, when they heard those words, they also burst into laughter. He actually brought the power of the heavenly punishment sword? Great. This time, we will definitely win. Let's see who dares to challenge us. They desperately needed a victory, because before this, Baiyan was high and mighty, and was the unparalleled overlord of the world. But this era was an era of immortal ascension. Countless strong people had awakened from their ancient slumber. There were even strong people from 1,000,000 years ago who had awakened. There were also ancient sects, like the Six Paths sect. They had begun to challenge their position at the Permitha realm. So they urgently needed a transcendent power to suppress everything. Lin Wudi was famous throughout the universe. His opponent was the 10-crown king, and his talent was unparalleled. His future achievements were limitless. It was most appropriate to use him as an example. Who would dare to be arrogant after killing Lin Wudi? Chapter 5980. Stupid thing, I will let you die in despair. Lei Yi waved the power of the heavenly punishment sword, and the human-shaped lightning bolts in the sky rushed down. This sword was too terrifying, and death was certain. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. He also felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy. He knew that he had to use his ultimate move, and he couldn't hold back anymore. Otherwise, his life would be in danger. He held the great dragon sword tightly, and dragon scales grew out of his body, transforming into a dragon. With a furious roar, he quickly charged over with his flying immortal sword. It's useless. No matter what you use, you are no match for heavenly punishment. Lei Ye's lips curled into a smile. He could already see victory. The human heart's lightning bolts rushed down with thousands of lightning bolts. Lin Xian, on the other hand, turned into a dragon shadow and soared into the sky. In the next moment, the two collided. Lin Xian roared crazily, "I'll show you my invincible strength." Roar. The roar of a dragon resounded in the sky, and thousands of swords chimed, as if they were going to pierce through the clouds. The two collided with a destructive force. The human-shaped lightning bolts collided with the ferocious dragon. Endless radiance shrouded everything. No one could see it anymore, and only Lin Xian's roar could be heard. This voice caused the souls of the emperors to tremble. So strong, so terrifying. No one knew who would win. If it were other emperors, no one would be optimistic. However, the opponent was Lin Xian. Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul, and it was an invincible power. One represented the heavens, and the other was invincible. Who was stronger? Even the Baiyu Great Emperor and the Thunderclap Great Emperor were extremely nervous. Their palms were sweating. They must win, and they mustn't lose. Boom, boom. There was a shocking collision, and the skies seemed to have been torn apart. Everyone saw an unbelievable scene. The human-shaped lightning bolts and the terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow collided. They were evenly matched. Everyone was shocked, but it made sense. 2 of the 5 swords of the world. There should be no difference in strength. Damn it. How could it be like this? When Lei Yi saw this, he found it hard to accept. On what basis are you on par with me? He had gone crazy. Who was he? He was the peerless genius of the Nirvana realm, the grandson of a deity, a supreme existence that stood high above the masses. He was wielding the power of the complete, heavenly punishment sword. How could the other party compare to him? But now, he only managed to fight to a draw. He couldn't accept it. Humph! Of course it can't be a draw. How are you going to match me? Lin Xian couldn't accept it either. He had fought his way through the 8 desolations. He had experienced countless pursuits, despair, and life and death situations. How could a pampered person like the other party compare to him? He absolutely refused to accept this. With a furious roar, the power of the great dragon sword soul rose once again. The divine blood in Lin Xian's body began to boil. Chop, chop, chop. He roared crazily. He grabbed the immortal slaying sword and slashed down again. The power of the great dragon sword combined with the killing intent of the immortal slaying sword. The power increased once again, sending the humanoid thunderbolt flying. A huge crack appeared on the humanoid thunderbolt's body. It was almost split into 2. Puff. Lei Yi retreated and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The other people were shocked. He was injured. Lei Yi was injured. Was the heavenly punishment sword defeated? It was unbelievable. An emperor said, the power of the 5 swords in the world was unfathomable. No one was stronger than the other, but there was a difference in the strength of the user. The current situation showed that Lin Wuti was still stronger. This young man was too incredible. He rose from the dust and was even more outstanding than the grandson of a deity. How could this be? On the other side, Thunderclap Emperor and Emperor Baiyu were shocked, too. They couldn't believe it. Was this Lin Wuti? Invincible. Lin Xian snorted. He stood in the void and looked down at the injured Lei Yi. You're just as unable to withstand a single blow. Lei Yi roared crazily. Was the other party mocking him? Unforgivable. Who said that I was defeated? I still have strength. I can still fight. He stood up and gathered the power of the heavenly punishment sword again. If you want to continue fighting, I'll beat you until you collapse. Lin Xian's sword was like a dragon. Streaks of sword chi slashed down crazily. Lei Yi used the power of the heavenly punishment sword to block it. He wanted to turn the situation around. He wanted to go against the heavens. But at this moment, Lin Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Do you want to see the power of the reincarnation sword? Everyone was stunned when they heard this. Emperor Baiyu and Thunderclap Emperor's faces changed. Not good. Lei Yi retreated quickly. Lei Yi was shocked too. The power of the reincarnation sword was also one of the 5 swords in the world. Could it be that the other party could use it too? No, I don't believe it. Even if his identity was extraordinary, he could only use some of the power of the heavenly punishment sword. The other party was worse than an ant. How could he use 2 of the 5 swords in the world? The other party must be deliberately mystifying and deceiving him. Do you think I'm scared? Lei Yi sneered and didn't retreat. Instead, he attacked even more crazily. He quickly approached Lin Xian, trying to dodge the attack of the great dragon sword with his super speed. Then, he would use the power of the heavenly punishment to tear the other party apart. Stupid thing, I'll let you see the power of the reincarnation sword. Lin Xian looked down and saw Lei Ye's reflection in his eyes. In the next moment, the light of the reincarnation sword condensed in his eyes. Heaven and earth split open, and a long sword phantom appeared. The long sword seemed to rise from the 6 paths of reincarnation, slashing down and taking away everything. The sword light hit Lei Yi. Lei Ye's soul was split open. He fell from the sky, and blood dyed the 9 heavens red. Boom! Lei Ye's figure fell heavily on the ground, causing endless cracks to appear on the ground. Everyone's heart beat violently. They were dumbfounded as they looked at the scene. The power of the reincarnation sword really came out. Lin Wudi defeated Lei Yi with the power of the great dragon sword and the reincarnation sword. He really did it. Zhong Lingxiu was shocked. On the other side, the Saintess of 6 Paths was even more excited. Although she was just an illusory soul, she appeared on one knee again. The reincarnation sword. He was the new master of reincarnation. Next to the stone of 3 lives, the fragment of the reincarnation sword shook violently. It seemed to want to merge with the commonly seen phantom in the sky. Lin Xian stood in the 9 heavens, looking down with a solemn expression. He said, "You're no match for me. Not in the past, not in the future. I'll trample you under my feet forever. Die in despair." He swung his sword a few more times. When the Thunderclap Emperor saw this, he quickly moved and took Lei Yi away. At the same time, he said, "Kid, you're dead. Our otherworld won't let you go." Lin Xian sneered and ignored him. He turned and stared at the fragment of the reincarnation sword beside the stone of 3 lives. He said in a low voice, "Next, it's time to subdue you." This was the most important thing he needed to do. Chapter 59:81. Lin Xian's strength shocked everyone. The people around him were terrified. He was too strong. However, there were also some who had other thoughts. For example, the immortal emperor's eyes shone with a trace of killing intent. In his opinion, although Yi Fuqian was strong, he was already at the end of his rope. After fighting with Lei Yi, Yi Fuqian did not have much strength left. Now was the best time to kill Yi Fuqian. With a flicker of his body, he moved with incredible speed and appeared behind Lin Xian in the blink of an eye. "Little brat, go to hell." He waved the black steel in his hand, wanting to smash Lin Xian into pieces. Lin Xian was hit. His body shook, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "That's great." The immortal emperor sneered. "This time, I'll kill you." His fist came again, aiming for Lin Xian's head. At this moment, Lin Xian turned around, his eyes shining with a cold light. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. 6 paths of reincarnation. Hell path, summon." This time, Lin Xian summoned the flames in the Sun Valley in the Sword World. The void tore apart as a gigantic palm slammed down on Lin Fan. "It's useless. Kid, you don't have much strength left. You're no match for me." The immortal emperor sneered. He wanted to tear Lin Xian's body to pieces. However, at that moment, when he saw the flaming palm flying toward him, he was shocked. The flame aura on it was too terrifying. What kind of palm was that? He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. There was a loud boom. This palm strike landed directly on his body. The sky shook, and the clouds changed. It was a fatal blow. The immortal emperor was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body broke into pieces, turning into countless cracks and falling to the ground. The surrounding people jumped in fright. The immortal emperor's sudden attack had already shocked them. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian still had a trump card. He smashed the immortal emperor to pieces with a single palm. The immortal emperor was severely injured. Although he possessed the power of immortality and indestructibility, he was still injured. He tumbled madly between heaven and earth. At the same time, he retreated in horror. The other people's faces also changed drastically. How terrifying! Lin Wuyi was too strong. But Thunder Dottie said, "Don't retreat. Everyone listen to my command. Let's kill him together." He really didn't have much strength left. That's right. Emperor Baiyu walked out as well. We have the power of heavenly punishment on our side. Let's use it together. On the other side, Lei Yi swallowed the pill and stood up again. Although he was severely injured, he still wanted to fight with his life on the line. The reason for that was because he absolutely would not allow the other party to continue living. The three great emperors of the Nirvana realm controlled the power of the heavenly punishment together. The eyes of the other rogue, martial monarchs flickered when they saw the collision. Indeed, Lin Wuyi was too strong. He was so strong that it frightened them. On the other side, Supreme Master Huanglin walked out and said, "People of Supreme Palace, let's move out as well. Although we have our own interests, this time we must stand together against a common enemy." Those supreme beings were actually gathered together. This scene made the ancient crocodile, Zhong Lingxiu, and the others completely change their expressions. Oh no, these people are going to join forces after all. Chen Yixin sighed. Showing off. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. Whoever dares to disrespect the Lord of Samsara will have to ask for my permission first. The soul of the saintess of the six paths walked out and shouted coldly. On the other side, the black eye also floated between heaven and earth. It's useless. The thunderclap emperor roared. The three of them, including the two controlling the heavenly punishment, were together. The power of the heavenly punishment was even more terrifying than before. It actually sent the saintess of the six paths flying. The soul of the saintess of the six paths dimmed even more. Lin Wuyi, you will definitely die today. Faced with such a terrifying scene, Lin Xian shouted coldly, "Then let's fight. Let's fight to our heart's content." He was like the sky with a trace of madness in his eyes. He was ready to completely activate the sword world and use the power inside to revive the heaven-devouring jar and the dragon sword soul. He didn't hold back and fought crazily. A great battle was about to break out. At the same time, outside the reincarnation mountain, Lin Zhan saw this scene and took a deep breath. Looks like it's my turn. Lin Xian was able to defeat Lei Yi, injure the Bu Mia Emperor, and defeat a group of people by himself. It was completely out of his expectation. He was very satisfied. He would leave the rest to him. Boom. Lin Zhan's body shook, and he disappeared. In the ancient Six Paths Gate, a great battle was about to break out. However, at this moment, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Then a figure walked out from the ancient times. He said coldly, "Who dares to attack my son? Who the hell is your son? Who do you think you are? Get out of here." The spiritual sovereign coldly laughed. The other people also raised their heads. Who dared to stop them at this time? Before they could see the figure clearly, a fist came at them. An iron fist fell from the sky and went straight for Huangling's spirit. Huangling's spirit was furious. "You're courting death." He also struck out with his palm. The law of desolation was enough to take away all lives. The two collided, and the sky fell, and the earth cracked. Then a scream was heard. Huangling's spirit's palm was shattered. Not only that, half of his body turned into a bloody mist. Ah, he screamed in pain. Then another fist fell and shattered the other half of his body. Huang Ling's spirit turned into a sea of blood, rolling between heaven and earth. He was severely injured. He stepped back in horror. "Help me!" He came to the Bumia Emperor, and the others, looking terrified. The Bumia Emperor, Wu Hui Supreme, and the others gasped. "It's too terrifying. Is another peerless master coming?" The Baiyu Emperor and the others also roared. "Who is it?" "It's me." In the sky, a majestic figure descended. He was like a demon god, stepping on all directions. His aura was extremely terrifying. It was as deep as the sea, and everyone was terrified. The Thunderclap Emperor's pupils shrank when he saw him. "It's you." How could he not know him? He came to the Heaven's Land to fight with the people of the God realm and snatch the ancient city. He had seen this man before. He was a member of the God realm. He didn't expect to come here. "Who is he?" Wu Hui Supreme and the others asked. The Thunderclap Emperor said, "He's a member of the God realm." "What? A member of the God realm?" The utmost martial emperors sucked in a breath of cold air. In the sky, the majestic figure said, "That's right. I'm a member of the God realm. My name is Lin Zhan. Remember this name. He will be your nightmare." Lin Zhan. His surname was also Lin. What was his relationship with Lin Xian? Everyone was confused. Lin Xian was excited. His eyes turned red. "Father," he shouted to the sky. Everyone was stunned. This man was Lin Wudi's father. No way? Since when did Lin Wudi have such a terrifying father? Didn't he awaken from the dust? Countless people were stunned. The Thunderclap Emperor and the others were also shocked. Lin Zhan lowered his head and looked at Lin Xian. He said with a smile, "Xian, your performance is very good. It's completely beyond our expectations. I didn't expect you to have grown to this level. I'm really happy. Next, you can go and subdue the reincarnation sword fragment. Leave these people to me." Chapter 5982. How arrogant! Do they really think we don't exist? The Thunderclap Emperor and the others roared. "We brought the power of divine punishment with us this time." The other supreme beings also looked gloomy and cold. They didn't take them seriously at all. Lin Xian also said, "Father, they have the advantage in numbers. They're very powerful. I want to fight side by side with you." "All right." Lin Zhan didn't refuse. He said, "Then let's work together and let the world see the power of our Lin family." Hearing this, Lin Xian flew up and came to Lin Zhan's side. He was really excited. Lin Zhan, Lord Alcohol, and the others had said that they wanted him to grow up quickly so that they could fight side by side one day. Now, the day had finally come. Lin Xian could finally fight with them and fight against the enemy together. "You don't know what's good for you. Today, I'll let you and your father die together." The Thunderclap Emperor Lei Yi and the others roared. They controlled the power of divine punishment and rushed over. At the same time, the other emperors and supreme beings around them quickly attacked. The power of these people was really terrifying. They were extremely powerful. Nothing could stop them. The ancient crocodile ran away quickly. Zhong Lingxiu and Chen Yixian also retreated far away. With such a lineup, it was useless even if they helped. The only thing they prayed for was that Lin Xian would leave quickly. Only by running away could he survive. However, Lin Xian wouldn't run away. Lin Zhan didn't run away either. He stepped out and said, "Xian, watch carefully. They can't even withstand a single blow." Then Lin Zhan clenched his fist. There seemed to be steel on his fist. Then he punched down fiercely. Heaven and earth were shattered. The entire void was pierced through. The few supreme beings nearby were instantly sent flying. Blood dyed the sky red. Everyone went crazy. This Lin Zhan was too terrifying. He sent several supreme beings flying by himself. Just what level had his battle prowess reached? Lin Xian was also excited after seeing this. Father is really powerful. He also roared to the sky and activated the power of Sword World. Come out! The power of the Sword World flew out. The heaven-swallowing pot turned into countless vortexes, swallowing the heavens and the earth. At the same time, the great dragon sword had obtained enough power to fuse with the immortal slaying sword. One sword slaying immortals. One of Emperor Baiyu's arms was severed, and the immortal chi on his body was almost severed. Damn it, that sword is so terrifying. Father, I'll give you the heaven-devouring jar, Lin Xian shouted. But Lin Zhan said, No, my fists are enough to destroy everything. Lin Zhan didn't use any weapons at all. However, his fists were really too terrifying. It was indestructible. After throwing out a punch, he directly punched through the Supreme Being. A great emperor was hit by his fist and spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Zhan was extremely domineering. He waved his hands and tore the entire world into two. The two Supreme Beings were split in half from the middle by him. Blood-curdling screams rang out. Everyone was terrified. On the other side, Lin Xian controlled the great dragon sword soul to collide with the power of heavenly punishment once again. The two exploded. Useless kid, you can't resist it at all. Last time, it was his own power. This time, he added the power of two great emperors. The other party definitely couldn't resist it. The other party would be torn into pieces in an instant. Rumbling sounds rang out. The two were evenly matched. Lei Ye's eyes almost popped out. How can you resist it? The Thunderclap Emperor's expression changed drastically. Who is it? Who is secretly helping him? Impossible. How can the other party have so much power? He didn't know that Lin Xian had a sword world. It was extremely mysterious and contained countless power. Even if the three of them joined forces, so what? Lin Xian had enough strength to protect himself. He could completely restrain the other party. Boom. At this moment, Lin Xian opened the evil spirit path again and summoned that flame-like palm. He slapped the Thunderclap Emperor. Half of the Thunderclap Emperor's body was smashed. He screamed in pain. The power of heavenly punishment also weakened. It was sent flying by Lin Xian's sword. They spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were filled with horror. How can this be? They had so many great emperors and supremes, but they couldn't do anything to the two of them. The Lin father and son were too strong. The ancient crocodile was terrified. It prostrated on the ground. Zhong, Ling Xiu's eyes flickered as she looked up. So strong. Chen Yixin stared at Lin Zhan. This man felt strange and familiar at the same time. Lin Zhan, I've never heard of him before. Why is this name so powerful? Look at his iron fists. Why do they look so similar to the Battle Emperor? Kill for me. Give me power. Lei Yi roared crazily. The Thunderclap Emperor also roared. Kill them together. Buy and will reward you handsomely. I'll give you the resources to become immortals. As for the other great emperors, their eyes also turned red after hearing this. Didn't they live until now to become immortals? These people didn't hold back anymore. They took out all kinds of weapons. In an instant, Lin Xian felt great pressure. On the other side, Lin Zhan said, Xian there's no time to lose. Quickly collect the reincarnation sword fragment. I'll hold them off for a while. Father, there are so many of them. Can you hold them off? Lin Zhan's lips curled up. Today, I'll show you my true strength. An intense light erupted from his eyes. In the next moment, an earth-shattering power erupted from his body. Lin Xian's body trembled. He's so strong. Father, who exactly is he? This power made him feel terrified. De Long, who was beside Lin Xian, also said the Battle Emperor has reappeared in the human world. Don't worry, he's very strong. Quickly collect the reincarnation sword fragment. This way we can leave quickly. reduce the danger to the minimum. Lin Xian nodded after hearing this. Since De Long said so, Lin Xian didn't hesitate anymore. He said, "Father, be careful." He took out the heaven-devouring jar and surrounded the fragment, creating countless black holes to defend. At the same time, he threw the immortal slaying sword to Lin Zhan. He said, "Father, use this." Lin Zhan nodded. "All right." He took the immortal slaying sword and split heaven and earth with one strike. The immortal supremacy was split in half again. Even Supreme Huang Ling's arms were shattered by the impact. "How is it possible for one person to fight against us?" Supreme Wu Hui roared. He threw out a terrifying cauldron and soul illusion. He wanted to make sure that no one could return. Great Emperor Baiyu's feathers filled the sky. Great Emperor Baiyu's terrifying killing thunder. Everyone was attacking crazily. The overwhelming immortal energy and divine fire all enveloped Lin Zhan. Lin Zhan punched in all directions and slashed everything with his sword. He roared at the sky, "I want to fight immortals." A loud and clear voice rang out. His strength had actually blocked the attacks coming from all directions. Not only that, he swept the surroundings. Those great emperors and supremes were all forced back. What was going on? He was actually so strong. Some people were terrified, and their scalps went numb. As for Great Emperor Baiyu, he roared, "Battle Emperor, you are the Battle Emperor from back then. You are still alive. Impossible." Supreme Huangling also exclaimed, "What? He was the Battle Emperor. Impossible? He had already died back then. How could he still be alive?" At this moment, many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Chapter 5983. Lin Zhan was actually the Zhan Di of the past. Everyone was astonished, especially those who knew the inside story. The War Emperor was killed by Immortal. Furthermore, he was killed by Immortal. How could he still be alive? Could it be that he had reincarnated? Eminent. They couldn't let him continue to be arrogant. If he could be killed back then, he could do it again. The 13 of them worked together. The thunderous great earth roared. This time, there were 13 supreme beings and great emperors. They didn't believe that Lin Zhan could fight against them alone. These people quickly moved out. Lin Zhan roared. He was very powerful. He was the War Emperor back then. Now that he had come back to life, his strength seemed to have become even more terrifying. He was fighting against 13 great emperors alone. He wasn't at a disadvantage. The god-slaying sword in his hand was full of murderous intent. Not long after, Great Emperor Baiyu was injured again. Even the thunderous Great Emperor was pierced through by the sword. His organs were all shattered. Lei Ye's face was also pale. 2 cracks appeared on his body. If it wasn't for the power of the heavenly punishment protecting him, he would have died. He would have been in danger. Eminent. They couldn't take him down. The supreme beings and great emperors gritted their teeth. The thunderous great emperor said, "Mr. Lei Yi, can you use your bloodline to summon the virtual immortal?" He wanted him to make a move and kill the other party. Upon hearing this, Lei Yi took a deep breath. "All right, I'll give it a try." He bit his finger and his great emperor blood dripped down, forming a space array. He wanted to summon his grandfather. Seeing this, Chen Yixin exclaimed, "Oh no, his grandfather is an immortal. If he came out, no one would be able to fight against him, not even the War Emperor. After all, the War Emperor was killed by an immortal." Lin Xian seemed to have also sensed this as his body began to sway. Even his reincarnation power had become unstable. At this moment, Lin Zhan said, "Xian don't worry. He won't be able to summon him." Then he flicked his finger. The divine fire that belonged to the War Emperor flew out and shattered the space array. War divine fire. Lin Zhan roared in anger. His flame was extremely terrifying. It formed a cage that enveloped the entire 6 Paths Gate. At this moment, Lei Yi and the rest felt a huge pressure. Their bodies began to tremble, and the immortal chi on their bodies began to tremble. He began to attack, fighting against the heavenly divine flames. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. He actually blocked it. Chun Yixin heaved a sigh of relief. When Lin Xian realized this, he was completely relieved. He started to collect the reincarnation sword fragments with all his might. He also had the complete 6 reincarnation eyes and the token of the Samsara Master. He could gain the trust of the fragment of the Samsara sword. The next step was to collect them. He had to speed up this process. Lei Yi roared and broke through his divine flame. This way, I can summon my grandfather. When my grandfather arrives, he will definitely die. The martial monarchs and 9 heaven supremes nodded and charged forward. With so many experts attacking at the same time, the godly flames in the sky began to tremble violently. As for Lin Zhan, he roared in anger, War Divine Fist. He let go of the immortal slaying sword and let it kill the enemies automatically. Meanwhile, he swung his iron fists and charged forward. Instantly, the 13 martial monarchs felt their hair stand on end. This person was really too powerful. He was known as the strongest martial monarch below the immortal realm. Now that he attacked, they were indeed terrified. Supreme Wu Hui dodged the opponent's fist and heaved a sigh of relief. However, his body was penetrated. The immortal slaying sword pierced through his shoulder, causing his body to split open. Damn it! This sword was actually so terrifying. It was very similar to the killing sword back then. His battle blood boiled. At this moment, Lin Zhan attacked again. The godly flames on his body kept flickering. His strength had increased once again. Not good. Supreme Wu Hui roared in anger. Stop him. However, it was already too late. His fists pierced through Supreme Wu Hui's body. A destructive force exploded. Supreme Wu Hui's expression changed drastically. No. At the critical moment, he roared in anger. He unlocked the last seal, and the immortal chi on his body erupted. Supreme Wu Hui fled into the distance. At the same time, he roared in despair. He had recovered to his peak and only had 1,000 years left to live. Damn it. This time, not only did he not obtain any treasures, but he also unlocked the seal. His life was quickly slipping away. There was not much time left. 1,000 years of life was just a snap of a finger to him. Lin Zhan sneered. He forced his opponent back with a few punches and looked for the enemy again. This time, he stared at the Thunderclap Emperor. He said coldly, "Previously, the Permitha realm attacked our city many times, and even wanted to kill us. At that time, it was just a few exchanges. I didn't attack you. This time, I can't let you live." He rushed over. The Thunderclap Emperor roared in anger. "How dare you underestimate me?" He charged over with lightning in the sky. The two fought fiercely. However, after 3 moves, the Thunderclap Emperor was forced back and spat out a mouthful of blood. No, he had to borrow the power of heavenly punishment. When he activated it, red lightning and immortal spells filled the sky. It was extremely terrifying. His eyes were red. He charged towards Lin Zhan with an extremely terrifying murderous aura. The red lightning sent Lin Zhan flying. A crack appeared on Lin Zhan's body. "That's great." The Thunderclap Emperor laughed. However, Lin Zhan was still not afraid. Even if he was injured, he still came to fight. His blood was boiling. It was enough to heal his injuries. At the same time, he roared in anger, "My battle blood will dye the world red." The blood that fell exploded with the brightest light. It formed a bloody fist and blasted towards the Thunderclap Emperor. The Thunderclap Emperor was sent flying. The Thunderclap Emperor let out a miserable roar. He retreated quickly. However, Lin Zhan had already locked onto him. He couldn't escape. This battle would determine the winner and the loser. He punched out with his fists. He raised his combat strength to the extreme and kept punching. Thousands of punches were thrown. At this moment, everyone was horrified. No one dared to save the Thunderclap Emperor. The Thunderclap Emperor was smashed into smithereens by such a punch. His soul was severely injured as well. He ran away crazily. The immortal chi on his body was burning. He turned into a stream of light and turned to escape. Lin Zhan sneered. "Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Back then, when I was a battled arch, I was killed by an immortal. Now that I've been reborn, I created a fist technique called the Battle Immortal Divine Fist. Now, feel it." He threw out a punch. This punch was much more powerful than the one before. This was a divine ability specially created to fight against immortals. "No, you can't kill me. I'm on Bai An's side. If you kill me, Bai An won't let you off. The virtual immortal won't let you off. He's a real immortal." The Thunderclap Emperor roared crazily. However, such threats were useless. He was hit by the Battle Immortal Divine Fist. Then he let out a cry of despair. He was dead. Had a Dvarch fallen? Between heaven and earth, blood rain fell. Everything was sad. At this moment, the surrounding Supremes and Thearchs all went crazy. They really didn't expect that the other party would have the strength to kill them. One had to know that it was possible for a Dvarch to be defeated. However, it was extremely difficult for a Dvarch to die. Back then, the few Thearchs that Lin Xian killed weren't complete Thearchs. Even so, Lin Xian had to use all of his trump cards in order to kill Zhang Xian. He had to use several supreme weapons in order to do so. Now, Lin Zhan killed a Dvarch with a single punch. Such strength was heaven-defying. Chapter 59-84. Who dares to fight with me? Lin Zhan said coldly in the sky. His gaze shifted to the remaining 12 great emperors. They were all great emperors. These people were so scared that their hair stood on end. Lei Ye's body trembled. A great emperor had just died in front of him? This person actually possessed such strength. Damn it! He felt that his life was in danger. For a moment, the world was terrifyingly quiet. Zhong Linxiu exclaimed, "He's so powerful. He's far stronger than ordinary great emperors." Chen Yixin said, "Of course, even though he had reincarnated back when he was the battle emperor, he was known to be invincible and had fought all over the world. He dared to challenge an immortal. How could he be an ordinary great emperor? Now that he was reborn, he had a deeper understanding of it. He created such a peerless fist technique. His strength was probably even more terrifying than before. However, he didn't know if the current him had already reached the peak. He didn't expect Lin Wudi to have such a powerful father. Zhong Lingxiu was also surprised. She looked into the distance at Lin Xian's figure. She thought that perhaps this time he could really successfully take it. Buzz. At this moment, there was a loud sound in front of him. The fragment of the reincarnation sword flew into Lin Xian's palm. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. That's great. He finally took it. The other 12 great emperors were also shocked. They looked in that direction with their mouths agape. Damn it. Great Emperor Baiyu gritted his teeth. Lei Yi roared and attacked again. However, it was shattered by Lin Zhan's punch. He stared at Lei Yi and said, "Do you want to die too?" He punched in all directions. Lei Yi kept vomiting blood. Great Emperor Baiyu said, "Stop. He's the grandson of a virtual immortal. Do you dare to attack him?" So, what if he's the grandson of a virtual immortal? I even dare to attack a virtual immortal here, let alone his grandson. Then, Lin Zhan punched again. Even Great Emperor Baiyu was sent flying. Great Emperor Baiyu was so angry that he vomited blood. He didn't dare to fight back. The other party was too strong. He seemed to have surpassed them. They weren't on the same level at all. "Xian how is it?" Lin Zhan turned around and asked. Lin Xian said, "Dad, I've subdued it. Are you all right? When he turned around, he realized that one person was missing. Was the Thunderclap Emperor dead? Just now, he had put all his effort into collecting them and did not pay attention to anything else. Who would have thought that the Thunderclap Emperor would fall? Lin Zhan said, "That guy doesn't know what's good for him. He even dared to challenge me one-on-one. I killed him with one punch. Let's go." He took Lin Xian into the air and flew into the distance. Soon, they left the Six Paths Gate and arrived outside the Reincarnation Mountain. He continued to fly out until he reached the high heavens. When Lin Xian just came out, the fragment of the Samsara sword suddenly burst out with an extremely bright light. It formed the phantoms of 6 worlds. It carried with it a terrifying power of samsara, as if it could open up the samsara of life and death. This kind of heaven and earth phenomenon circled above the 9 heavens, and it was impossible to hide. What's going on? Lin Xian was shocked. Lin Zhan also said, "This is the fragment of the reincarnation sword. It has reappeared between heaven and earth. Naturally, it has to announce its appearance. But if I do so, won't I be telling everyone that I have the fragment of the reincarnation sword?" Lin Xian frowned. Lin Zhan said, "So what? A man should not be afraid of anything, even if they know, so what? Moreover, we can use this matter to set up a trap. It's time to get rid of some people from the Supreme Hall, and the Permitha." Lin Zhan's eyes shone with a cold light. During this period of time, the Permitha had been fighting with them in the high heavens, which made them very angry. Therefore, they had to fight back fiercely. The fall of the Thunderclap Emperor was just the beginning. The heaven and earth phenomenon in the Six Paths world was seen by everyone in the high heavens. Not only that, but the people in the celestial land also saw it. Even the people in the universe also saw it. They saw that the 6 worlds seemed to be surrounding a long sword. That was the power of samsara. That was the reincarnation sword. Heavens, has the reincarnation sword appeared? One of the 5 swords of the world, the reincarnation sword, had finally appeared. Countless exclamations could be heard. At this moment, everyone went crazy. Even the super experts in the great emperor families and the depths of the celestial land were shocked. The eyes of some rogue great emperors and people from the Supreme Hall also turned red. The reincarnation sword has appeared. Let's go. We must get it. The reincarnation sword contains supreme secrets. It has the power of samsara. If we get it, we might be able to live forever. Let's go. Many experts went over. In the mysterious moon palace, Guanghan deity also looked up. She said, "Has it finally appeared?" On the other side, in the high heavens, the Empress, Xiajiu, Lord Alcohol, and the others were also happy. The reincarnation sword has appeared. I wonder if Lin Xian has it, and somewhere in the universe. A figure as black as ink also grinned after seeing this. Has the reincarnation sword appeared? I'll go take a look. He turned into boundless demonic chi, tore open the void, and disappeared. On the Permitha, in the eternal land, these people also saw the phantom of the reincarnation sword. Has the reincarnation sword appeared again? It was truly inconceivable. The great emperors discussed. The virtual immortal also opened his eyes. He calculated with his fingers and frowned. At the same time, a long sword flew out from his embroidered robe. The long sword was extremely terrifying. The words Dragon Slayer were engraved on it. Have you sensed 10 Crown King's aura again? Is a potential enemy a threat to you? Then go and kill him. This sword of yours specializes in killing hidden dragons. Go. The virtual immortal flicked the sword hilt. Instantly, the Dragon Slayer sword turned into a stream of light, flew into the sky, and disappeared. On the other side, outside the Reincarnation Mountain, Lin Zhan said to Lin Xian, "Let's go back first. We'll come back when we're not in a hurry." Lin Xian nodded. He took a deep breath and followed Lin Zhan into the sky. However, at this moment, the void split open. A long sword pierced towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's hair stood on end. Lin Xian took out a fragment of the reincarnation sword and blocked it. With a clang, he was forced back and spat out a mouthful of blood. So terrifying. What kind of sword is this? At this moment, the long sword turned around and slashed down again. Seeing this, Lin Zhan roared. He grabbed the immortal slaying sword and slashed down. The two swords clashed. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The scene here attracted the attention of the people below. Great Emperor Baiyu, Lei Yi, Great Emperor Bumia, and the others flew out again. When they appeared and saw this scene, they were also stunned. Lei Yi exclaimed, "Dragon Slayer sword, great, it's my turn. You're dead." Dragon Slayer sword. Lin Xian's eyes shone with the light of reincarnation. He stared at the other party. He recognized it. 100,000 years ago, this sword had slain the 10-crown king of the dragon race. He didn't expect that this time it was going to attack him again. Chen Yixian, Zhong Lingxiu, and the ancient crocodile also flew out. Seeing this scene, they also exclaimed. Chen Yixian said, "Dragon Slayer sword." This sword was made by the virtual immortal. It was specially made to kill 10-crown king. 10-crown king had an earth-shattering mysterious power called the Hidden Dragon, and this sword was specially made to kill the Hidden Dragon. After hearing this, Lin Zhan snorted coldly. "What Dragon Slayer sword? Get lost." After saying that, he punched out. Chapter 59:85. Lin Zhan attacked forcefully. His fists charged towards the dragon-slaying sword. When they hit the dragon-slaying sword, a shocking sound was heard. The battle between the two was extremely terrifying. When the Supremes and Great Emperors who rushed over saw this scene, they were all shocked. It was too powerful. This was the treasure sword of an essence immortal. Could the other party really fight against an immortal? Suddenly, Lin Zhan stretched out a pair of big hands. The divine flames on them jumped and directly grabbed the dragon-slaying sword. The dragon-slaying sword kept shaking. It wanted to break free, but it didn't succeed at all. Was it suppressed? They all exclaimed. Even Lin Xian's eyes lit up. But at this moment, an extremely terrifying aura came from the dragon-slaying sword. It turned into a sword light and slashed towards Lin Zhan. It left a wound on Lin Zhan's arm. Even his bones could be seen. "Oh no, father, you're injured," Lin Xian exclaimed. Lin Zhan waved his hand. He threw out a ball of divine flames and formed a seal. He directly slapped it on the dragon-slaying sword. The dragon-slaying sword fell from the sky like a meteor and sank into the ground. It disappeared. "No matter who you are, don't even think about hurting my son. And you, how dare you attack my son? I'll let you know that you regret it." He turned his head and stared at Lei Yi. He waved his other fist. "How dare you?" Great Emperor Baiyu roared. Lei Yi was also scared out of his wits. This person was too powerful. However, he still couldn't escape. His legs were directly beaten into a bloody mist. He screamed in pain in the air. Did you see that? This was the price. Lin Zhan's gaze looked at the sky. It was as if he had passed through time and space. He said coldly, "If you dare to attack again, don't blame me for killing your grandson. Let's go." Lin Zhan carried Lin Xian. The two of them soared into the sky and disappeared into the void. Throughout the entire process, no one dared to stop them. Those Supremes felt their scalps go numb. Even the dragon-slaying sword was sent flying. Who would dare to stop them? This person was too terrifying. "Young Master Lei Yi, let's go back quickly," Great Emperor Baiyu said from the side. Lei Yi nodded. This time, he was seriously injured. "Let's go back and ask my grandfather to kill them." These people returned to the other side. On the other side, the 9 Heaven Supremes and the rogue martial monarchs left one after another. Some of the people who belonged to the Paragon Hall returned. This time, The appearance of the fragments of the 6 paths of reincarnation sword set off a shocking storm. Although Lin Xian had obtained it now, they would not let the matter rest. It was because the 6th Tao of reincarnation was too important, connecting life and death. If they could obtain it, they might be able to revive some of the dead. They even suspected that Lin Zhan's revival had something to do with the 6 paths of reincarnation. After all, Wartharch had been killed by immortal back then. It was impossible for him to be revived so easily. In the sky, 2 figures flashed. They were Lin Xian and Lin Zhan. Lin Xian said, "Dad, are you okay?" He took out many treasures from the sword world and gave them to Lin Zhan. After Lin Zhan received it, he swallowed it. With a wave of his hand, divine flames danced and healed his wounds. He said, "There's nothing else. Without a virtual immortal, you want to kill me with a sword? That's ridiculous. Dad, what should we do next?" Lin Xian asked. After all, this was a big problem. There were probably countless martial monarchs and 9 heaven supremes who wanted the fragments of the 6 paths of reincarnation sword. Lin Zhan said, "Let's go back and discuss. Let's set up a trap and catch all of them in one fell swoop." This time, they would be dealt a heavy blow. They would not dare to act rashly. The news spread out. In an instant, the world was in a state of shock. The universe was in an uproar. The fragments of the 6 paths of reincarnation sword had finally appeared. Moreover, Lin Wudi had actually obtained it. Heavens, what did that kid do to deserve such a treasure? That's right. Why, he did not deserve to have it. Snatch it. Some people started to move. The Paragon Hall was a very terrifying force. Like the Divine Union, they belonged to the Alliance. However, the Alliance was formed by the cooperation of countless 9 heaven supremes. As such, it was extremely powerful. Inside the Paragon Hall, Nether Prime's eyes flashed with a cold light after hearing this. This matter was very important. He had to report it to the Grim Reaper quickly. Nether Prime came to a hellish place. He bowed slightly. "Greetings, Grim Reaper." An ancient voice sounded in front of him. "What's the matter?" Nether Prime told him about the fragments of the 6 paths of reincarnation sword. At the same time, a bunch of black eyes appeared in front of him. They looked like balls of hellfire that were jumping. The Grim Reaper said in a deep voice, "Bring it back. It belongs to us. With the power of the reincarnation sword, our book of life and death will become even more terrifying. At that time, we will be able to revive the dead and summon all those who have died. You bring your men and go." "Yes." Nether Prime nodded. He went back to prepare. He had a page of the book of life and death. It could be said to be very useful. This time, he joined forces with the Supremes. The 4 Supremes were going together. They were not the only ones. The others were also moving. Some martial monarchs even secretly joined forces and prepared to go together. It could be said that the top forces in the universe were preparing to go to the Heaven's Land. The people of the deity realm naturally received the news. They had already sent people to the entrance of the Heaven's Land. At this moment, after seeing the figures entering one after another, the news quickly spread to the ancient city. In the city, the Empress, Lord Alcohol, and the others were also surprised after receiving the news. It seems that the number of people is more than we thought. Lin Zhan and the others haven't returned yet. What are they doing? Xiajiu also frowned. Should we attack together? There were 2 other people. The 2 of them had returned on the river of time. They also had the strength of a martial monarch. Let's wait for a while more. Lord Alcohol said. Lin Zhan originally wanted to come back, but he stopped on the way. The reason for that was because a figure had blocked his path. This figure stood there, towering over the crowd. His body was pitch black, and there was an extremely terrifying demonic aura flickering on his body. "It's you, Demon Monarch." After Lin Xian saw him, his face changed. The other party actually came to find him. "What are you doing here?" The demon monarch turned around and smiled. "Little guy, your cultivation has really improved by leaps and bounds. Are you already a martial monarch now? Also, you actually managed to obtain the fragment of the reincarnation sword. This really surprised me. Are you here to snatch the fragment of the reincarnation sword?" He was very vigilant. This person was very strange. He had once cultivated the demon monarch's ancient scripture and knew how terrifying the other party was. He said, "Father, be careful." Lin Zhan nodded and walked forward. "You really came back to life. What do you think of what I told you before? Are you prepared to join the deity realm?" The demon monarch said, "Forget it. I'm used to being alone. I don't want to join anyone." "Then why are you here this time?" Lin Zhan frowned and said, "Although I can't join the deity realm, it's not a problem to cooperate occasionally. You want to cooperate?" Lin Zhan's eyes lit up. He knew how terrifying this guy in front of him was. This guy was called a demon. He was simply a lunatic, but his strength was ridiculously strong. Chapter 5986. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian was also surprised. From the looks of it, his father and the demon emperor knew each other. Moreover, the godly realm had invited the demon emperor to join them. However, the demon emperor had rejected them. Were they going to cooperate this time? Lin Xian was surprised. However, thinking of the green-robed great emperor, perhaps the demon emperor had cooperated with the godly realm more than once. However, the demon emperor was used to being alone and didn't like to join any faction. It was good to cooperate. Lin Zhan nodded. However, the demon emperor said, "I'll live a new life. I have to make a request for this cooperation." "What request do you have? Tell me." The godly realm had cooperated with MOD before, but that was tens of thousands of years ago. At that time, the other party had a request every time they cooperated. He had heard about this from the Empress. "I know that you've conquered some cities in the heavenly land, so my request is very simple. Give me the qualifications to enter those ancient cities." Lin Zhan didn't refuse. However, he narrowed his eyes and said, "Your request is a little too much. After all, you're only going to fight once this time." "It's not much. If you know how many people are coming this time, you won't refuse me. Also, I said that this is a new beginning. Who knows, you might need me to take action in the future. I'm just going in to experience the magic and power of the heavenly land." Lin Zhan was deep in thought. After all, this matter was somewhat beyond his expectations. However, at this moment, he received a nomological voice transmission. He took out a scroll with the voices of Lord Alcohol and the others on it. When Lin Zhan heard that there were so many people coming this time, even he was surprised and put away the scroll. Lin Zhan said, "Okay, I promise you." "Very good. Don't worry, you won't regret it." The demon emperor said, "Let's set up the plan. Just the two of us will be enough. I think your combat strength should have recovered. It's about time, right?" Some of the people who came were supremes, while others were great emperors. However, even great emperors had only cultivated a strand of immortal chi or divine fire, so they weren't afraid. "The two of us are enough to sweep everything." "Okay." Lin Zhan nodded. He took out another scroll and sent a message to Lord Alcohol and the others. He didn't plan to return to the ancient city. This time, he would directly deal with those people who came. "Let's go. Xian still needs you as bait." Lin Xian was surprised. How many people were there? Are the two of you enough? To be honest, he had seen his father's strength and knew how terrifying the demon emperor was. However, he still felt that something was amiss. Lin Zhan said, according to the news that the Empress and the others sent over just now, the Empress and the others sent us a message. Currently, 36 martial monarchs had arrived. What? 36? Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Previously, there were 13 of them. Lin Zhan was able to block the attack by himself. However, he had only killed one great emperor. Now that their numbers had doubled, would the two of them be able to hold them off? Even if he was included, most likely, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Don't worry, little guy. MOD laughed and said, Your father's strength is more formidable than you think. My strength is also beyond your imagination. Therefore, 36 of them are still within our ability. Lin Xian was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Right now, he could only defeat one great emperor. But now, his father and the demon emperor could actually defeat so many great emperors. The gap between them was simply too great. The demon emperor said, Didn't your father tell you? Your father and I were known as the strongest people below the immortal realm. The strongest people below the immortal realm. Lin Xian was shocked. Was his father really like this? He looked at Lin Zhan. Lin Zhan said, Not accurate. To be precise, the demon emperor was known as the strongest person below the immortal realm. As for me, I was known as the person closest to God. Lin Xian was shocked. Although the two had different titles, it undoubtedly showed that these two people were ridiculously powerful below the immortal realm. He should be one of the top great emperors in terms of combat power. After the demon emperor heard this, he also sighed. Then he sneered and said, Kid, don't mind it too much. This is just a title. I'm not the only one who has received this title. However, I didn't manage to take that step. In the end, I still turned into ashes. To Lin Xian's surprise, he could hear a hint of sadness and sorrow in her words. What was that step? The step of becoming an immortal? Even the great emperors felt sorrow. Then how difficult was it to become an immortal? Now that he thought about it, how terrifying was the virtual immortal? And the virtual immortal didn't seem to be the master of the Nirvana realm. How terrifying was the master of the Nirvana realm? Also, was there a God-level figure in the divine realm? If there wasn't, how did he fight against the Nirvana realm back then? Lin Xian had many doubts. Father, please tell me. I have enough strength now. Lin Xian was very curious about these ancient secrets. Let's talk as we walk. They rose into the air and flew into the distance. On the way, Lin Zhan said briefly, There are indeed people in the divine realm who can fight against immortals. They are God-level figures. Back then, there was a great battle. However, these people all disappeared. Some of them went to search for the most mysterious 10th land in the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Then they seemed to have entered the 10th land and never came out again. I wonder how they are now. There were also some who wanted to break through to a higher level, but they hadn't appeared yet. Lin Zhan didn't say anything specific. However, Lin Xian was also shocked after hearing this. It seemed that there were also legendary existences in the divine realm who had surpassed the great emperor level and reached the level of gods. However, due to various reasons, they hadn't appeared yet. However, perhaps with the passage of time, these people would reappear in the mortal world again. After flying for a while, they finally stopped. Lin Xian took a look and was stunned. Why are we back? Isn't this the Reincarnation Mountain, the place where the ancient Six Paths sect is located? They had left from here before. Now, they were back. Lin Zhan said, Previously, you triggered a vision of heaven and earth from here. The 6 paths of reincarnation sword has reappeared in the mortal world. Therefore, those who came will first investigate this place. We will use this place as the location to set up our plan. At that time, we will catch all the people who came. Come quickly. I can't wait any longer. I can feel that my demonic blood is boiling. The demon emperor waved his hand and took out the great spear of destruction. He stood in the void, and the demonic aura on his body kept rolling. When he saw the great indestructible spear, Lin Xian also had a strange expression. How terrifying was the demon emperor? Perhaps it wouldn't be long before he could see it with his own eyes. Lin Zhan flipped his hand, and a huge array covered the entire sky. Then, the three of them slowly disappeared. In the sky, the phantom of the 6 paths of reincarnation sword appeared again. It was like the sun in the night sky, shining brightly. Those who came here would definitely see it immediately. Indeed, a few days later, a light flashed across the sky from afar. When they saw the vision of heaven and earth in the sky, they were overjoyed. That was where the reincarnation sword appeared. Go quickly. They sped up and flew forward. Chapter 59:87. What a terrifying aura. It was indeed the power of the reincarnation sword. Some of the great emperors were overjoyed when they arrived. This was the power of the 5 swords of the world. If they could obtain it, their strength would definitely increase greatly. However, at this moment, a cold and eerie voice came from the sky. The reincarnation sword belongs to us, the god of death palace. Everyone else get lost or die. What? The god of death palace was the supreme palace? Humph! How dare a mere prime compete with a great emperor? The other great emperors heard this and shouted coldly, "You're the ones who should get lost." Such an angry roar resounded in this world. Obviously, both sides were enraged. They all wanted the power of the reincarnation sword. How dare you look down on us primes? Do you want to die? The people of the Supreme Palace roared angrily. Among them, there was a group of people wearing black robes. They were extremely eerie. The leader was the Nether Prime. The Nether Prime roared and unleashed a terrifying aura of death. He charged towards a great emperor. This great emperor was surrounded by a terrifying storm. He roared, "Do you want to die?" He raised his hand and summoned a tornado. This tornado could easily destroy a few worlds. It carried an extremely terrifying immortal wind chi. The two sides engaged in a fierce battle. I'm here too. In the distance, another great emperor arrived. He slashed down with his saber, shattering the world. Another great emperor arrived. His aura was as deep as the sea. There were more than 30 figures near the Reincarnation Mountain. Each of them was incomparably powerful. Lin Xian was shocked when he saw this. It was really shocking. One should know that each of these figures was the strongest in their era. They were invincible in the world. These people had traveled through countless years to finally meet in this most dazzling era. They wanted to become gods and immortals. Therefore, in the face of this transcendent power, they naturally would not give up. The battle erupted in an instant. All kinds of divine flames were set off. Supreme weapons danced in the sky and swept across the world. At the same time, the demon emperor saw this scene and sneered, "Humph, it seems like it's our turn. Let's go." With a wave of his hand, a boundless demonic aura surged forward, forming a demonic mountain that stood firmly between the heavens and earth. Originally, due to the battle, the void was already shattered. However, at this moment, a black aura filled the air and shrouded the surroundings. In the next moment, the void cracked open and a black demonic mountain descended from the sky. The people who were fighting all stopped and turned their heads to look. Is someone coming again? Who was it? What a powerful aura. An expert had arrived. They saw a black demonic mountain towering between heaven and earth. There were 3 figures standing on the peak of the Devil Mountain. One of the figures stood in the middle with his hands behind his back. Demonic chi surged from his body, making him look like a demon god. Just one look at it would make one's soul tremble. What a terrifying devil chi. This must be a devil race expert. Did the demon race also come? Wait, no, look at the other person. Supreme Heavenly Blade pointed into the distance and roared in horror. Isn't that Lin Zhan beside the demon emperor? Regarding this person, his memory was still fresh. Lin Zhan was very powerful. He didn't leave and actually came back. Also, the person on the left of MOD, isn't that Lin Xian? It's him who obtained the power of the Samsara sword. Another angry roar was heard. Everyone's eyes turned to Lin Xian again. One after another, exclamations sounded. They have been waiting here for us. Could it be that they have set up a trap? Is there a trap? Countless exclamations sounded. The people of the Supreme Palace sneered. So, what if there is a trap? It's just 3 people. This time, we have more than 30 people, 10 times more than them. Can we defeat them? Yes, that's right. The other Supreme Emperors fell silent. 36 people were far more than the other party. This time, they would definitely win. Lin Wuti, hand over the power of the Samsara sword. You don't deserve to have it. Hand it over, and I'll let you live. Otherwise, I'll destroy your soul. It's a pity that you die at such a young age. So, you have to think carefully. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Do you have the ability to get it? At this time, the demon emperor next to him also took a step forward. He looked down and said, 36 people, no more, no less. You're all here. Very good. This time, I'll catch all of you in one fell swoop. Save me the trouble of looking for you one by one. What? Catch all of you in one fell swoop? How arrogant. The Supreme Emperors and Supreme Emperors were all angry. Among them, Nether Prime snorted coldly. Who do you think you are? He stared at the other party and said, the sky is full of demonic energy. I remember now. You're the former demon emperor, right? That lunatic. I didn't expect you to still be alive. But do you think you have the strength to fight against us? The immortal Prime sneered coldly. At this time, a man in a black robe walked out from beside him. His hands were blood red. With a wave of his hand, a blood-red saber light flew out. It was really scary. You're a demon, and I'm also a demon. My name is Blood Demon Prime. Let's see who's more powerful between the two of us. The terrifying blood-red demonic saber slashed down from the sky towards the demon emperor. The demon emperor snorted coldly. You don't have the qualifications. He pointed out a finger, and the demonic voice covered the sky and the earth, directly shattering the saber light that filled the sky. At the same time, the Blood Demon Prime was forced back. The Blood Demon Prime spat out a mouthful of blood, his face full of shock, so powerful. The Nether Prime's face was also cold. As expected, it's difficult. However, we won't fight you alone. Let's go together. The people from the Supreme Palace and the Death God Palace walked out and prepared to attack. On the other side, Gale Earth, who was surrounded by storms, also walked out and stared at Lin Xian. He said, Are you Lin Wuti? I've heard of your name. It's said that you're the 10-crown king and can defeat the great emperor. I don't believe it. I want to fight you alone. Do you dare? So cunning. The other supremes and great emperors' expressions changed. This Gale emperor was too cunning. If he fought Lin Wuti alone and won, he could directly snatch the treasures in Lin Wuti's hands. Damn it. Why didn't they think of such a move? Immediately, someone said, I also want to fight you alone. After Lin Xian heard this, he sneered disdainfully. One-on-one? Do you think you're worthy? Kid, don't you dare? It seems that your reputation is undeserved. I originally thought that a shocking figure had appeared in this era. Now it seems that you've really disappointed me. The Gale Emperor shook his head. Lin Xian said, If you want to die, I'll do as you wish. He walked out. Let's decide the outcome in 3 moves. If you can make me retreat within 3 moves, I'll admit defeat. Arrogant enough, but you'll lose for sure. The Gale Emperor laughed sinisterly. He had already made up his mind that as long as the other party dared to come out, he would make the other party regret it. With a wave of his sleeve, the storm that filled the sky flew out. He was called the Gale Emperor. Not only did he have the power of wind, but He also had the power of fire. His storm carried a scorching aura. Wind and fire swept through the sky. This was his famous, unique skill. Chapter 5988. It was the ultimate technique of the great emperor. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He activated the Hell Path and summoned the palm in the Sun Valley. With a boom, the palm pierced through heaven and earth, tearing apart the fiery storm in the sky. Emperor Lai Feng spat out blood and retreated, his face full of horror. How is this possible? He had actually been defeated by a single move. The others were also surprised. What is that palm? It was too terrifying. It didn't seem like his physique. He summoned the 6 paths of reincarnation. Netherworld Prime's face changed. He had a page of the Book of Life and Death, so he could summon some ancient corpses. Therefore, when he saw this scene, he was greatly shocked. His opponent's Rinnegan seemed to have become even more terrifying. Trash, you are not qualified to obtain the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Xian looked at him and snorted disdainfully. Emperor Lai Feng was extremely depressed. He wanted to take this opportunity to suppress his opponent, but he didn't expect to be slapped in the face. Well, the game is over. Now it's time for the life and death battle. MOD also said in a deep voice. As his voice fell, the whole world fell silent. Endless demonic chi soared into the sky and covered the 9 heavens. Everyone's face changed. They took a deep breath, knowing that a great battle was coming. On the other side, Lin Zhan also walked out. His figure was slender, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His figure was incomparably tall and straight. He stood there like a god of war, making everyone's heart beat wildly. Danger. The aura of these 2 people was too dangerous. Let's do it. Don't talk nonsense. The Netherworld Sovereign also let out a furious roar. The others nodded. At this moment, 36 figures moved out together. Boom, boom. Terrifying power as vast as the sea erupted in an instant, setting off a shocking storm in the heavenly land. Outside, the people of the deity ground and the universe were also frightened. They could only feel their souls trembling. They didn't know what death was. Demon Emperor Sneer turned into a phantom and instantly charged in. In the face of 36 great emperors, he was not afraid at all. He broke through the void and punched out. The demon god fist instantly sent the 2 9 heaven supremes flying. The void was shattered, and a black hole appeared. At this moment, a great emperor made his move. He transformed into a vast ocean and surged towards Lin Zhan with surging power. The other person threw out a top-grade flying dagger. This was a knight's flying dagger, which was enough to threaten a great emperor. It pierced towards Lin Zhan's head. Lin Zhan snorted coldly. He raised his hand and punched. His fist seemed to have turned into the sharpest weapon, knocking the flying daggers away. At the same time, he threw out another punch that pierced through the ocean. The 2 martial monarchs cried out in agony and were sent flying. They spat out blood and were shocked. They had just exchanged blows and were already injured. Lin Zhan was too terrifying, as expected of the battle emperor. But so what? That was your identity in your previous life. Now, do you still have the strength you had back then? If not, you can go to hell. The great emperors roared and charged towards Lin Zhan again. On the other side, the Netherworld Sovereign and the others also charged towards the demon emperor. He summoned countless skeletons. They covered the sky and covered the earth, sweeping in all directions. The aura of death on these people was extremely terrifying. The demonic aura on the demon emperor's body was rolling like clouds. The 2 collided, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. Are you from the Supreme Palace? Ants like you are still not this emperor's match. The demon emperor stood in the void. There were black flames dancing in his eyes, and his face was filled with arrogance. He held the great spear of destruction in his hand and struck out. Instantly, the millions of skeletons in front of him were torn in half. At the same time, a few people from the Supreme Palace were pierced by the spear. These people were injured and retreated. They quickly took out immortal pills. Were they going to swallow them? Their eyes shone with a cold light. The Netherworld's sovereign said, "Everyone calm down. Don't panic. This is just a test. They are strong, but there are only two of them. Moreover, they are reincarnated. They are no longer the Battle Emperor and Demon Emperor of the past. We don't have to be afraid of them. We have 36 masters. I don't believe that we can't kill them this time. Moreover, our goal is the reincarnation sword. If there is a chance, we will immediately break out and kill Lin Wuti. That is the most important thing." The 30 people around nodded. Indeed, they were all great emperors. Some had awakened hundreds of thousands of years ago. Some had awakened tens of thousands of years ago. When all these people were put together, they could become a legend. No matter how strong those two were. So what? They calmed down and regained their confidence. Then they divided into two teams. They charged towards Lin Zhan and the Demon Emperor. As long as there was a chance, they would cross these two mountains and kill Lin Xian. Their plan was very good, but they underestimated the power of Lin Zhan and the Demon Emperor. The two of them were simply too powerful. They were like 10,000 tall mountains, standing tall and straight. No one could surpass them. The battle was very terrifying. Behind them, Lin Xian also gasped when he saw this scene. That's too powerful. His father, Lin Zhan, and the Demon Emperor seemed to be on a different level from these 36 great emperors. Was the gap between the great emperors so big? If that was the case, no matter how many great emperors there were on the Permethok continent, they shouldn't be a match for it. But why was it that the Permethok continent was still high and mighty, while the deity realm was once destroyed? Was it because there was an immortal on the Permethok continent? Were immortals really so powerful? How terrifying was that place? Lin Xian was very confused. Buzz. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him. The void cracked, and the figure became more and more real. He sneered, "Kid, I finally caught you." A large net covered Lin Xian. That's great. The people fighting in front were happy. It was the shadowless great emperor. He came and went like a shadow. Lin Xian's face darkened. "You want to catch me? Get lost." The immortal slaying sword merged with the great dragon sword spirit. With a slash, the net was cut open. The shadow emperor's face changed, and he was sent flying. How could he be so powerful? In the next instant, he let out a miserable shriek. His soul was also being violently battered. Lin Xian roared, and the divine fire on his body was released. The terrifying 9 suns' divine fire shocked the heavens, as if he had turned into the sun war god. "Do you think I'm a pushover?" Lin Xian punched in all directions. The 9 suns' divine fist and the 6 paths of reincarnation fist forced the Shadow Emperor to retreat. He was sent flying. Damn it, he's so powerful. Nether Prime and the others were shocked when they saw this scene. It seemed that one great emperor was not enough. At least 3 great emperors were needed to attack together to have a chance. They suppressed the other party in an instant. "Do you think you still have a chance?" The Demon Emperor snorted. "I was just testing you. Now I'm going to send you to hell." An extremely terrifying demonic chi suddenly erupted from his body, forming a demonic zither in front of him. Demon Overture. A group of demons attacked. He played the zither. Suddenly, an extremely terrifying and peerless divine power erupted. The great emperors and supremes were completely enveloped by the sound. They let out a miserable roar. Chapter 59-89. On the other side, Lin Zhan roared, "Zhan Xian Divine Fist." He finally used a super fist technique. This time, He charged towards Emperor Shadowless. Emperor Shadowless had been sent flying by Lin Xian and was injured. More importantly, he might threaten Lin Xian again. Hence, Lin Zhan was prepared to finish him off immediately. Emperor Shadowless's expression changed drastically. His figure flashed as he quickly dodged. He had no choice. He was no match for Lin Zhan in a one-on-one battle. If he was hit by this fist, he would be severely injured even if he didn't die. However, he was known as Shadowless. Hence, his movement technique was extremely strange. No matter how strong his opponent was, he couldn't hit him. Shadowless. Useless inspiration. I admit that your battle strength is incredible. However, in terms of movement technique, you are no match for me at all. Emperor Shadowless's voice rang out from all directions. At this moment, his movement technique was extremely strange. However, Lin Zhan's expression was one of disdain. Stupid thing. You don't understand what absolute battle strength is. This fist tore apart the sky and shattered the universe. It covered everything. Emperor Shadowless screamed crazily. No, damn it. How is this possible? He realized that although his movement technique was terrifying, he still couldn't surpass this world. However, Lin Zhan's fist had shattered the entire world. He was like a fly that had been ruthlessly slapped by a slap. In the next instant, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. He was smashed into pieces by the fist. His body turned into a bloody mist. Even his soul couldn't escape. It was sent flying. Then it turned into smoke and disappeared. He was dead. Everyone was terrified. A great emperor was killed by a single fist. Was this the Zhan Xian divine fist? This was Lin Zhan's strongest fist technique. We mustn't be hit by this fist. Everyone, be careful. This is an exceptional superpower. He can't use it continuously. We still have a chance to kill him when he uses the second fist. These people were right. No matter how strong Lin Zhan was, he couldn't use this exceptional superpower continuously. However, even without the war, immortal godly fist, Lin Zhan's strength was not something these people could compare to. The dozen of us unleashed a peerless attack, fusing our divine flames and immortal chi together. The remaining dozen, or so people gathered together. They unleashed their immortal chi and divine flame, fusing them together to form a ball of energy. The ball of light was only the size of a millstone. However, its power was extremely frightening. It could probably destroy the universe. This power was too shocking. At this moment, all the living beings in the universe prostrated themselves on the ground. Fortunately, this kind of battle was not taking place in the universe or the deity ground. Otherwise, their world would not be able to withstand it. Father, be careful, Lin Xian also exclaimed. Such an attack was too terrifying. Lin Zhan roared, I don't have the Zhan immortal divine fist, but I still have the exceptional fighting soul. At this moment, an extremely terrifying aura suddenly erupted from Lin Zhan's soul. It was as if he had turned into a god above the 9 heavens, looking down on everyone. The souls of more than a dozen emperors and supreme beings began to tremble. He kept vomiting blood. How could this be? What was this? D***M*N. This was the exceptional fighting soul. He had actually cultivated it to such a level. At this moment, everyone's bodies began to tremble. They seemed to be unable to control their souls. The energy that they had gathered was also rapidly weakening. D***M*N. They could not wait any longer. They shot out the ball of light that they had gathered. This ball of light bloomed between heaven and earth, emitting an extremely terrifying light. Once hit, no matter how strong the opponent was, he would be reduced to ashes. Not good. Lin Xian shot out the sky-devouring jar, wanting to stop it. However, it seemed to be too late. On the other side, the demon emperor's eyes also flashed. He did not make a move. He thought to himself, Battle Emperor, Let me see your true power." Facing the shocking attack, Lin Zhan did not dodge at all. However, the ball of light in front of him was rapidly shrinking. In the end, it became very weak and seemed to have disappeared. The dozen emperors were all stunned. What was going on? Why did the power that they had fused together disappear? What exactly happened? Among them, there was an old man called the Kenglin Great Emperor. He said in horror, "This is the power of time. You actually mastered the power of time once. You changed time." Hearing this voice, the others were also frightened. Did time go back in time just now? Therefore, the energy that they had gathered disappeared. Lin Zhan walked out. He was right. It was indeed the power of time. Impossible? You can actually comprehend the power of time. This is absolutely impossible. The Kenglin Great Emperor roared crazily. On the other side, Nether Sovereign and the others were also frightened. The power of time was so mysterious. Very few people could comprehend it. Perhaps even immortals might not be able to comprehend the power of time, right? Because time was the most mysterious and strange thing. Even the demon emperor was surprised. The power of time? As expected. However, it seemed to be only a trace, but it was already very shocking. It made countless emperors and supremes jealous. Lin Xian was also surprised. The power of time. His father actually grasped such a mysterious power. It was said that the last sword of the 5 swords in the world was the sword of time and space. With this sword, one would have the power of time and space. However, this sword was the most mysterious. No one knew where it was. Did his dad have something to do with the sword of time and space? At the same time, he recalled that the Azura clan had been exterminated because they had grasped the power of time. It was very likely that it was Higan who took the lead, because Higan did not allow this kind of heaven-defying power to exist. The surrounding emperors were all desperate. How could they fight the power of time? However, the Kenglin Great Emperor calmed down. His face was old, and he was very knowledgeable. He said, "Don't worry. He has the power of time, but only a trace, and he can't use it too often. Otherwise, he would have used it long ago. Therefore, the power of time can only save him once. It can't save him the second time. Let's gather again." Okay, the other emperors and supremes nodded. They gathered the immortal Qi and the divine fire together. Once again, they formed an energy ball. Boom! The energy ball floated in the void, emitting an extremely terrifying and monstrous aura. Nothing could resist it. At this moment, with it as the center, the surrounding void cracked. More than a dozen supremes waved their arms fiercely and sent the energy ball flying. The Kenglin Great Emperor was even more furious. "I don't believe that you can still use the power of time." Lin Zhan said, "There's no need to use it. My divine fist can be used for the second time. So, tremble in fear." Boom! He punched out, intertwined with endless divine fire of the great Tao. This fist was like the fist of the god of war. It was invincible. This fist collided with the energy ball. A great destruction occurred in the void. A black hole quickly swallowed Lin Zhan, the dozen supremes, and the emperors. It turned into nothingness. Not good. Dodge quickly. Nether Sovereign and the others also retreated frantically. This was a destructive force. It was enough to kill the emperors. Chapter 5990. Lin Xian looked at the black hole in front of him with a nervous expression. "I wonder how Father is doing?" At this moment, someone walked out of the black hole. The tall figure with black hair danced wildly like the god of war. It was Lin Zhan. "That's great. Father is fine." Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. On the other hand, the dozen or so great emperor-level figures were extremely miserable. Their bodies were covered with cracks, and a few of them were directly blasted into a bloody mist. Their faces were filled with horror. He was too strong. The other party was simply undefeatable. Lin Zhan stepped into the air. He walked forward and punched out, enveloping 3 supreme martial artists. No, the 3 supremes roared crazily. The seals on their bodies were broken, and they recovered to their peak strength. They used their immortal qi and divine fire to resist, but they were still beaten back. In the next moment, their expressions changed drastically. Damn it, they broke the seal. They only had 1,000 years of life. They didn't expect that they would break the seal under Lin Zhan's fist. Damn it, unforgivable. They rushed over as if they had gone mad. Lin Zhan's expression was cold as his fists swept in all directions. He seemed to have endless divine power. Every punch was earth-shattering. Not long after, a few more figures were sent flying. During this process, Lin Zhan used the Zhan immortal divine fist again and killed one of the Supremes. This Supreme being didn't even have time to undo the seal before he was killed. Damn it. How could he use the Zhan immortal divine fist so many times in a row? Even if there was a gap, this gap was too short, right? Everyone went crazy. The Kanglin Great Emperor said, "He's using the power of time. He's using the power of time on himself." Therefore, the recovery speed of the Zhan immortal divine fist was much faster. Damn it, they were now in a dilemma. And Lin Zhan didn't seem to intend to let these people go. On the other side, the Netherworld Sovereign and the others had ugly expressions. They took a deep breath and roared, "Let's get rid of this demon emperor first." These dozen or so people also attacked crazily. The demon emperor laughed loudly. "Do you really think that I'm weaker than the Zhan Immortal? Since the Zhan Immortal has used his trump card, then I'll let you see my trump card." With a clap of his hand, the ancient magic zither disappeared. Then he stood in the void and formed a seal with his hands. Boundless demonic qi appeared. In the rear, Lin Xian was also surprised. What is the demon emperor's real trump card? Boom. The heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The boundless demonic qi actually formed a world. Modi raised his head and roared. The demonic world has descended. A demonic world was formed, shrouding the world. Lin Xian was also enveloped. When he sensed what was happening, he sucked in a breath of cold air. What a terrifying demonic aura. What a real world. He discovered that this was indeed the case. It was as if MOD had refined an entire star realm. Just like that, he appeared out of thin air. After seeing this, Netherworld Sovereign and the other sneered and said, "The Devil World. So, what?" Back then, we destroyed more than one of the demon worlds. We can also shatter your Devil Dao world. The Supreme Palace's people felt disdain, attacking crazily. They unleashed their supreme laws, as well as their terrifying divine abilities and ultimate techniques to sweep out in all directions. These divine abilities, coupled with the cold aura, were summoned. Countless Yin soldiers quickly swept out. They wanted to shatter the entire world. It was useless. The demon emperor snorted coldly. He stood in the void with his hands behind his back. "My Devil Dao world is not something you can imagine. Next, you will feel fear and despair." In the face of such a terrifying attack, the Devil world shook. Then, it became as steady as Mount Tai. How was this possible? This world was not ordinary. On the other side, after Lin Zhan finished watching, he was also surprised. "You actually have such ambition. This person is indeed a lunatic. Did you notice? As expected of someone who can fight side by side with me. It's just that these idiots haven't realized how terrifying this world is. Let them experience it." The demon emperor laughed loudly. Then he waved his hand. In the sky of this world, dark clouds condensed, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. Black lightning struck down in an instant. "How can mere lightning do anything to me?" Netherworld Sovereign and the others roared. They rushed into the sky to resist. However, the dozen or so people were soon sent flying and vomited mouthfuls of blood. Damn it, this lightning, this power, this is not an ordinary world. What did he do? Ignorant, Aunt, let me tell you. The demon emperor looked up and laughed. His black hair danced wildly, like a peerless demon god. In this world, the most mysterious of all was the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The 9 heavens were high above, ethereal and untraceable. It was a legend, but the 10 earths really existed. However, the 10 earths was not a place where ordinary people could enter. Even great emperors would find it difficult to survive here for a long time. Therefore, since ancient times, countless great emperors and supremes wanted to enter one of the 10 earths, because only there would there be hope of becoming an immortal. But why do you only want to enter the 10 earths? Why can't you create a 9 heavens and 10 earths? The devil world I created is to surpass the 9 heavens and 10 earths. A loud and clear voice rang out, causing the netherworld sovereign and the others to be stunned. Surpass the 9 heavens and 10 earths? What a joke! The origin of the 9 heavens and 10 earths was very mysterious. Just the 10 continents were enough to become an immortal. This was the creation of heaven and earth, condensed over countless years. However, the demon emperor wanted to condense a world alone, to be on par with the legendary 9 heavens and 10 earths. This was a madman. Ha ha ha! The demon emperor looked up and laughed. At least I dare to do it. You don't even dare to think about it. Stupid Aunt, go to hell. The power of the devil world erupted, enveloping these powerhouses. Instantly, the bodies of 2 supremes and 1 great emperor split open. No, their faces were filled with despair. They felt that this world could crush them and turn them into ashes. Damn it. In the end, 3 great emperors died. The others felt their hair stand on end. Charge! Charge out of this devil world. Devour the power of the 3 dead great emperors. Devour their power. Between a heaven and earth, 2 demon godheads formed and rapidly absorbed this surge of energy. At the same time, it strengthened the devil world. This guy was crazy. This guy gave all his power to the devil world. What is he trying to do? Leave this place quickly. Netherworld supremacy and the others opened the void, wanting to escape. However, they discovered that the void was also enveloped. They couldn't escape. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he was shocked. The other party wanted to create a world comparable to the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Lin Xian had a clear understanding of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. He had a sword world in his body, which was one of the 10 earths. The ancient land. It was incomparably mysterious and vast. It was hard to imagine that a world that was created could be compared to such an existence. However, the demon emperor dared to do so. Moreover, the demon emperor created the devil world. It seemed to be too terrifying, although it couldn't reach the realm of the 10 earths. However, it far surpassed the other worlds. This guy was indeed a madman. Without enough strength, he still couldn't come into contact with this guy. However, Lin Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. His father, Lin Zhan, and the demon emperor, these 2 people were extremely terrifying figures. There was no suspense in this battle. Chapter 59-91. On Lin Zhan's side, he continued to attack. A few more died. In the end, those people burned their blood and divine flames, risking their lives to escape. Only 3 of them managed to escape. As for the remaining dozen or so, they were all killed by the heaven-battling divine fist. On the other side, the demon emperor was even more terrifying. He had killed more than 10 fallen great emperors. He swallowed all the corpses into the demon world, making the demon world even more terrifying. This scene made Lin Zhan frown. He didn't care. He didn't stop them, because he still needed the demon emperor's power. Lin Xian came over and took out a treasure from the sword world for Lin Zhan to consume. Although Lin Zhan won this battle and didn't suffer any serious injuries, he consumed a lot of energy. The war Immortal Divine Fist was a super powerful technique. Lin Zhan used it continuously, so it consumed a lot of energy. As expected, Lin Zhan's face was a little pale. He started to recover his energy. However, his gaze didn't leave the demon world. At this moment, there was a huge change in the demon world. It seemed to have become even more terrifying. The dozen or so experts on the other side kept dying. In the end, only a few of them were still alive. One of them was the Netherworld Sovereign. The Netherworld Sovereign went crazy. He took out a page of the Life and Death book. He said crazily, "Take me out of here. I don't want to face this lunatic anymore." There were two people beside him. The three of them activated the Life and Death book together. "You only have one page of the Life and Death book, and you dare to be arrogant in front of me." The demon emperor sneered and reached out his hand. "I'll take this Life and Death book." No, the Netherworld Sovereign went crazy. He said, "Death God, please help me." Suddenly, a pitch-black light erupted from the Book of Life and Death. Then, a sickle flew out from the Life and Death book. This sickle was just an illusion. As soon as it appeared, it slashed towards the Netherworld Sovereign. A sovereign beside him cut the Netherworld Sovereign in half. The sovereign's blood flew into the sickle. Then, the Death God sickle was formed with the sovereign's blood. It slashed towards the demon emperor. It collided with the demon emperor's palm. The demon emperor was forced back. His face turned cold. Death God, he was one of the masterminds behind the Supreme Palace. "Humph, you're not dead yet. However, this isn't a place you can easily enter. You can only use a little of your strength. Demon Emperor, you are like an ant in front of me. Once I recover from my injuries and come out, the first thing I will do is kill you." After she finished speaking, she waved her black scythe and left with the Netherworld Sovereign. The Demon Emperor did not give chase because he knew that this was a true expert. However, he was not afraid. There was a limit to how much the other party could do. Moreover, the results of this battle were very strong. Only one person managed to escape. On Lin Zhan's side, there were 3 people. A total of 5 people managed to escape. 31 powerful beings had fallen here. These were all emperors and supremes. Every single one of them was the pinnacle of their era. But now, it was equivalent to the strongest experts of over 30 eras dying. This battle would definitely shake the heavens. MOD withdrew his demonic aura. Throughout the battle, the power of the great emperor's corpses had been devoured by the demon realm. Other than the cracks all around, there was nothing else left. The demon emperor said, "All right, I have finished them. I have completed my task. Shouldn't you bring me to your ancient city? Let me say this first. Don't bring me to those broken places. I want to go to Upper Azure Town." "Don't worry. No problem. However, the city we are attacking now is not Upper Azure Town. We are still attacking Upper Azure Town. You can do your part. When the time comes, let's go in together." "Deal." The Demon Emperor smiled. "Then let's go. Follow me back to the ancient city." Lin Zhan waved his hand and disappeared with Lin Xian and the Demon Emperor. The result of this battle was also spread. More powerful beings had arrived. When they sensed the remnant battle aura, they were all stunned. 31 great emperors had fallen. This was enough to shock the heavens and earth. Indeed, when the news spread, the deity ground was shocked. Everyone in the universe was stunned. 31 great emperors from different eras. But now they were all killed. Who was it? Was it the legendary immortal? Was there anyone more powerful than the great emperors? Heavens, just what kind of divine being is this? At the same time, the legends of Jiotian City also spread. Countless people were shocked. Zhou Qianshidi was an even more mysterious existence. That was great. Fortunately, these great emperors appeared in Zhou Qianshidi. Otherwise, they would have come to our universe and fought. The universe would have been destroyed. Those young disciples were extremely excited. They were talking about this. It was too far away from them. They only saw it as a legend. However, those great emperor families, Supreme Palace, and the Nirvana realm, even the superforces such as the immortal Hua dynasty, were frowning. It seemed that this golden era was much more dangerous than they had imagined. Even great emperors could fall so easily. Next, if they made a wrong move, they would be doomed eternally. Damn it! Supreme Palace, God of Death Palace. The atmosphere was extremely heavy. Netherworld Prime even knelt on one knee on the ground. God of Death, please punish me. I have failed. Another Supreme also said, I didn't expect the Demon Emperor to be so terrifying. He is really too strong. I guess he must have cultivated 2 strands of immortal Qi. He is even close to the 3rd strand of immortal Qi. That Lin Zhan is about the same. He must have 2 divine fires on him. They were all super powerhouses below the immortal realm. In front of them, there was a pitch-black figure. It was the demon god. He floated in the air, and a deep voice sounded. Demon Emperor, Lin Zhan, I didn't expect the 2 of them to still be alive. This matter is not your fault. This is a trap set up by the 2 of them. They want to lure us over, so that they can catch us all in one fell swoop. It's normal that you are not their match. However, these 2 guys can't be arrogant for long. When I can get out, I will make them regret it. It seems that it's time to cooperate with the Nirvana realm, the heavenly land. That place is still unclear. Let's go to the 9th underworld. I have a feeling that the 9th underworld is about to open. The power of the 9th underworld is most suitable for us, as long as you do your job well. When the time comes, I can help you become gods in the 9th underworld. Thank you, God of Death. Netherworld Sovereign and the others were extremely excited. On the other side, the atmosphere on the Nirvana realm was also extremely tense. Great Emperor Baiyu was extremely nervous. This time, not only did they not succeed, but the grandson of the virtual immortal was also severely injured. He was very nervous facing the virtual immortal now. If the virtual immortal was angry, he would probably suffer. Lei Yi, who was beside him, also said, Grandfather, please kill that Lin Zhan personally. Humph! The virtual immortal opened his eyes and snorted coldly. His voice was like thunder. Lei Yi didn't dare to say anything. I won't let Lin Zhan off, but not now. You are used to being arrogant. It's good that you suffer a little. I hope you can go one step further after knowing your shame. Also, get ready. Our next destination is the 9th underworld. The show had just begun. The winner and loser had not been decided yet. This time, they had the upper hand and obtained a fragment of the reincarnation sword. But so what? Back then, we could destroy them. This time, we can definitely do it. And this time, I want to destroy their souls and make them unable to be reborn. Chapter 5992. In the ancient city of the heavens, 3 figures descended. They were Lin Xian, Lin Zhan, and MOD. It was Lin Xian's first time here, so he felt a mysterious aura. He exclaimed, Is this the city of the heavens? It was too mysterious. Cultivating here was probably far better than anywhere else in the outside world. No wonder countless emperors wanted to come here to cultivate. Lin Zhan said, Zhou Qianshidi has power that the outside universe doesn't. Outside, the highest you can cultivate is to become a great emperor. However, if you want to improve, you have to come to Zhou Qianshidi to find more mysterious power. Otherwise, it will be difficult to improve. Let's go in. He opened the city gate, and the 3 walked in. Inside the city, the Empress, Lord Nine, Xia Juyo, and the other two people from the River of Time were all waiting. This battle was good. The Empress nodded. Lord Alcohol looked at Lin Xian and said, "Little guy, you're finally here." Lord Alcohol. Lin Xian ran over happily and took out a lot of wine from the sword world. He said, "I brewed a lot of good wine. Let's taste it together." Lord Alcohol took a pot and drank it. He looked up and sighed. "Good wine." Little White rushed out and hugged the wine bottle, not letting go. He babbled, "Mine, mine, ha ha." Everyone laughed. Lord Alcohol grabbed Little White and said, "You little monkey, you like to drink too." Humph! Little White hugged the wine gourd and didn't want to give it to anyone. The emperors shook their heads with a smile. However, when they saw the Demon Emperor, they all stopped smiling, and their expressions turned serious. Lin Zhan said a little about his cooperation with the Demon Emperor. The Emperor's eyes flickered. The Demon Emperor said, "Don't worry, I won't harm you. There will only be benefits if you cooperate with me." The Empress snorted, "Is that so? I hope you won't be the same as last time." "You mean last time, right?" The Demon Emperor put his hands behind his back and looked up at the starry sky. "It's been tens of thousands of years. I don't remember. I failed last time, but I will succeed this time. Little guy, let me introduce you." Lord Alcohol pointed at the two unfamiliar figures and said, "This is the Iron Blood Emperor, and this is the Blazing Heaven Emperor. Greetings, seniors." Lin Xian greeted. The two great emperors nodded. "So you're Lin Wudi. We've heard of your name. The younger generation will surpass us in time." He didn't expect Lin Zhan to have such a good son. The two great emperors laughed. "Seniors, you flatter me." This was not the first time Lin Xian had seen these two people. He had seen them before. Back then, Lin Xian had used the power of the River of Time to return to 100,000 years in the future. Since they were all familiar with each other, they walked in and gathered together to discuss what to do next. Later on, they even began to chat with each other about their experiences in cultivation. Lin Xian had learned a lot from the martial monarchs. This made him extremely happy. One had to know that the cultivation experience of every martial monarch was a secret. It was rare for it to be leaked. Lin Xian had received so much guidance all of a sudden. His future cultivation would be much smoother. For the next period of time, Lin Xian lived in this ancient city. The ancient city's aura was indeed extraordinary. It was very helpful for his cultivation. Although Lin Xian's current strength was strong, however, he was not a great emperor yet. He was now studying how to become one. Moreover, not only did he have divine fire, but he also had immortal qi. Who should he let break through first? Or should they break through together? Lin Xian had asked these great emperors, and they all frowned. The empress' suggestion to Lin Xian was to only cultivate one of them. The other great emperors also nodded. Was there no one who cultivated at the same time? Lord Alcohol said, "Yes, but they all failed or didn't become great emperors. There were people who had cultivated both powers before, but after becoming great emperors, one power suppressed the other. Therefore, if you want to continue cultivating, it will be very difficult. Moreover, you must let the divine fire and immortal qi break through at the same time. Then I have to think about it carefully. After all, becoming great emperors is a very important matter." Lin Xian had to think carefully before making a decision. At the same time, he had many questions. For example, the gods of the divine realm? What was the battle like back then? His father and the Demon Emperor were so powerful. Why couldn't they defeat the Heavenly King? Lord Alcohol said as he drank, "You are too naive. Although your father Lin Zhan and the Demon Emperor are powerful, they are only great emperors after all. They are not gods. The Heavenly King has immortals and more than one. Of course, we also have gods on our side. However, after the battle back then, our people went to find a new way out. They went to the mysterious 10th land and haven't returned yet. What was the 10th land? Which godlike figures were there? Lord Alcohol sighed. You definitely know two of them. One is Yi Tiandi. The other is also related to you. It is the sky-devouring Great Emperor. Yi Tiandi and the sky-devouring Great Emperor? Lin Xian was shocked. Yi Tiandi was the patriarch of the Yi family. The sky-devouring Great Emperor was the owner of the sky-devouring jar. These two great emperors were famous. Lin Xian had heard of them since he was young. But later, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth recovered, and the heavenly king descended. In fact, countless martial monarchs and paragons had appeared in the sky-heaven land. They woke up from their ancient slumber. However, the great emperor of the Yi family never appeared. There were others, such as the sky-devouring Great Emperor, who were famous figures. Lin Xian had always felt that these people were not dead. He just didn't expect them to be so powerful. Moreover, they went to the mysterious 10th land. Who was more powerful, they or the virtual immortals? Lin Xian asked. Lord Alcohol said, at their level, they have a title called Earth Immortal. It is the level that people who cultivate 3 divine fires or immortal chi can reach. Ordinary great emperors cultivate 1 divine fire or immortal chi. For example, your father and the Devil Emperor both cultivated 2 das. However, they are still inferior to Earth Immortals. Only those who cultivate 3 can be called Earth Immortals. So that was the case. 3 divine fires or immortal chi. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. At the same time, he also understood the power of his father and the Demon Emperor. It turned out that they had already cultivated 2. No wonder they could challenge more than 10 great emperors alone. Their strength had long surpassed ordinary great emperors. Little guy, you don't have to be anxious. You have the power of 2 of the 5 swords in the world. Your future achievements are limitless. As for the 10th land, I can tell you, we don't have much information. We only know that it is extremely mysterious. Moreover, it is said that it is on a planet. It is a blue planet in the starry sky of the universe. However, we have searched countless times, but we can't find it. Not to mention us. The other side has been frantically searching for tens of thousands of years. They still found nothing. Therefore, they wanted Heavenly Emperor Yi and the sky-devouring Great Emperor to appear. They could only wait for them to come out of the 10th land. This time, Lord Alcohol said a lot. Lin Xian learned more about the situation, and he was greatly shocked. The realm of cultivation, the mysterious 9 heavens and 10 earths, all these secrets were waiting for him to uncover. Chapter 5993. In the following month, Lin Xian began to train in the Spirit Palace. When he had nothing to do, he would enter the Sword World. He sensed the difference between the 2 places. He realized that although they were both in Zhouqian City, the 2 places did have different auras. From the looks of it, every mysterious place in the 9 heavens and 10 earths possessed different powers. On this day, Lin Zhan, the Demon Emperor, and the Empress came back from outside and gathered people. They were ready to attack Upper Qing City. Upper Qing City was the core city of Upper Heaven's land. It was much more important than this ancient city. Once they could enter Upper Qing City, they would have a firm foothold in Upper Heaven's land. When Lin Xian heard that, he was also very excited. He even wanted to go with them. However, the Iron Blood Emperor frowned and said, "What's wrong? I don't see Xia Zhuyo." "Yeah, where is he?" The Empress also frowned. Everyone looked around and found Xia Zhuyo. In one of the palaces in the ancient city, you sat there alone. "Elder Xia, what's wrong?" Lin Xian went over and asked. The others also walked over. Xia Zhuyo raised his head, and his face was a little ugly. Lin Zhan said, "Is it about your family?" Xia Jiu nodded. Yes, what should come will come. The Xia family took Xingchen away. Lin Xian's expression changed. Xia Xingchen was Xia Jiu's granddaughter. Lin Xian was very familiar with Xia Jiu. After all, he was the one who gave him the temple. Plus, he had helped him a lot. However, Lin Xian didn't know about Xia Jiu's family. Could it be that the Xia clan was also a terrifying clan? Xia Jiu was a legendary figure in the past. Within a few thousand years after the death of the great emperor, he had risen to an incredible level. He was about to break through to the great emperor realm. However, the power of heaven and earth didn't allow it. The suppression of the heavenly Tao prevented him from breaking through and becoming a great emperor. Countless people felt sorry for a hero who was past his prime. However, Xia Jiu's luck wasn't bad. At the last moment, the power of heaven and earth changed. The celestial land had descended, and the people from the god realm had returned. They had brought him to the celestial land. It was as though Xia Jiu had been reborn. He had yet to become a martial monarch. However, he was already very close to reaching that level. Thinking about it, it shouldn't be a problem for him to become a martial emperor. It was just a matter of time. Such a person should have been high-spirited, but now his face was full of worry. Lin Xian asked, "Is the Xia family very powerful?" "Little sister Xingchen, since he's been captured, we'll just take him back." The demon monarch said, "Kid, the Xia clan is really not ordinary. It can be said that they are even more terrifying than the great emperor clans. They were even more terrifying than great emperor clans." Lin Xian was stunned. No way. Could it be that the Xia family once had a land immortal? Lin Xian now knew that there were strong and weak great emperors who cultivated 3 divine fires and immortal qi, were called land immortals. Once such a person appeared, he would truly be immortal. For example, virtual immortals had lived for millions of years. Ordinary great emperors would not be able to survive in the outside universe after living for 10 to 20,000 years. They would either seal themselves and become a supreme being in deep sleep, or they would quickly join the Permethau realm and enter the eternal land, or, like the iron-blood great emperor and the others, they would sit on the river of time and return to the past to hide. In short, without some special methods, it would be very difficult to survive. However, land immortals were different. For virtual immortals, not only had they lived for countless years, but they also had a group of great emperors under them. They were the true overlords. Lin Zhan said, "No, the Xia family has never had a land immortal. However, their family was very strange. They lived in the 9 netherland of the 9 heavens and 10 lands." What? There were indigenous people in the 9 heavens and 10 lands? Lin Xian was stunned. He had been in the celestial land for so long. Other than the great emperors and supreme beings outside, he had come in. He did not find any living beings at all. Of course, some broken corpses and bones were not counted. These were all existences that had died back then. However, there were no living natives. Now, his father told him that the Xia family lived in the 9 netherland. That was also one of the 9 heavens and 10 lands. How terrifying was that? No wonder Xia Jiu was so worried. The situation was not that bad. Xia Jiu shook his head. The Xia family did live in the 9 netherland. However, the 9 netherland had already been closed. Although it was about to open, the moment had not yet arrived. And the Xia family had a branch outside the 9 netherland. This time, it was a branch of the Xia family who had done it. It seemed that they were planning to open the 9 netherland. Calculating the time, it was about time. The 9 netherland should be opened. However, we have to attack Upper Qingcheng. This opportunity was calculated. If we miss it, we will probably have to wait for tens of thousands of years. Therefore, let Xian accompany you. Lin Zhan said in a deep voice. Lord Alcohol also nodded. That's right. There should be no problem with the two little guys accompanying you. Lin Gongzi will have to trouble you then. Xia Jiuyou naturally knew about Lin Xian's strength. Although he had not become a great emperor, he was still the 10-crown king. More importantly, he could use the power of the great dragon sword and the Rinnegan. Ordinary great emperors were no match for Lin Xian. Elder Xia, don't worry. Xingqian is also my sister. I will save her. After we enter Upper Qingqing City, we will go to the Nine Netherland. Since they had decided, Lin Xian and Xia Jiuyou began to prepare. Within 3 days, they adjusted their condition to the peak. They also brought the resources they needed. Then they left. They waved goodbye to Lin Zhan, Lord Alcohol, and the others. Lin Xian and Xia Jiuyou took the teleportation formation and disappeared. When they reappeared, they were already in the vast universe. There was a pitch-black vortex in front of them. That was the entrance to hell. The two of them flew forward. On the way, Xia Jiuyou told Lin Xian about the situation of the Xia family's branch. Although this branch was outside the Nine Netherland, it was also extremely terrifying. There were great emperors in the past. Now, those ancient great emperors might have awakened from their slumber. Don't worry, Elder Xia. There won't be a problem, Lin Xian said. At the same time, he recalled the words of his father, Lord Alcohol, and the others. In this trip to hell, other than the Xia family, there were other forces that he had to be careful of. The first was the god of Death Palace of the Supreme Palace, which was the Netherworld sovereign, and the others. These people had the Book of Life and Death, and were originally moving in hell. Moreover, these people were eager to enter the Nine Netherland. They wanted to obtain the power of the Nine Netherland. There was also another group of people, which was the Permethar realm. The Permethar realm was in the Azure Land. If they failed, they would definitely change their direction and attack the Nine Netherland. Therefore, when the time came, they would meet the experts of the Permethar realm. Other than that, Lin Xian only had to be careful of the other wandering cultivators. The most important thing was still the Supreme Palace and the Permethar realm. Was he going to meet the people of the Permethar realm again? Lin Xian's expression was cold. When they met again, he would definitely kill another great emperor. Chapter 59-94. Two figures flew across the void. They were Lin Xian and Xia Jiuyou. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. The mission this time wasn't easy. Even though he was strong now, ordinary martial emperors were no match for him. But this time, he had to face the Nine Nether. Moreover, there were 2 missions this time. The first was to rescue Xia Xingqian. The second was to help Xia Jiuyou break through and become a great emperor. Because Xia Jiuyou was extraordinary, his name wasn't given casually. It had a special meaning. Xia Jiuyou was related to the Nine Nether. Xia Jiuyou's physique was also related to the Nine Nether. It was the same for Lin Xian. He had learned from his father that it was the legendary 9 underworld body, and it was the key to opening the Nine Nether. Of course, this secret was only known by Xia family, Lin Zhan, and the people of the God realm. Supreme Hall and the people of the Permethar realm didn't know. If they knew, they would go crazy to snatch Xia Jiuyou. Although Xia Jiuyou's current strength was strong, it wasn't enough to open the Nine Nether. He had to become a great emperor. In other words, this time, Xia Jiuyou had to break through in hell and become a great emperor. That would require sufficient resources. And all of this was related to the Xia family. Lin Xian pondered. What should he do next? He already had an idea. He would go to the 15th level of hell to save someone. According to Xia Jiuyou, he had nothing to do with Xia family for many years. Back then, he was a member of Xia family. But later, he walked out of hell and came to the universe outside. He revealed his brilliance, becoming a new force to be reckoned with, sweeping through all sides, reaching an incomparably powerful state. But he was restricted by the heavenly Tao and couldn't become a great emperor. Later, he even went back to Xia family to ask for help, but Xia family didn't care. At that time, Xia family's head met him personally. He said in a deep voice, "Now isn't the right time. You don't have to become a great emperor. Stay in the family and seal yourself in a deep sleep. When the time is right, we will wake you up and let you become a great emperor." In fact, the people of the Xia clan had even personally taken action to suppress Xia Jiuyo. At that time, Xia Jiuyo was in high spirits and was already standing at the peak. He was naturally unwilling to be manipulated by others and become a puppet. Therefore, after a great battle, he left with injuries. The Xia family had tried to pursue them, but to no avail. Later on, the timing was not right, so the Xia family could not hide anymore. This matter gradually faded away. Now that the time was about to come, the Xia family had to make a move. They didn't immediately look for Xia Jiuyo. Instead, he made a move and took Xia Jiuyo's granddaughter away. Clearly, this was a warning to Xia Jiuyo. No matter what your current status is, I'm not going to let you off. What was his cultivation? All of them had to obediently return to their families and bow their heads in apology. He was really arrogant and domineering. Xia Jiuyo clenched his fists at the thought of this. However, Lin Xian said, "Don't worry. If the Xia family dares to hurt Sister Xingqian, I will flatten them. Right now, you don't know much about the Xia clan. Let's find someone in hell and ask around." He would only take action after he understood the situation. After hearing this, Xia Jiuyo nodded. He knew that he couldn't act rashly in this matter. After arriving in hell, Lin Xian went directly to the 15th level of hell. This was because he had an agreement with someone. Back then, when he was fighting against the Wraith Path, the Black Eye had summoned an illusion. That was a soul in hell, known as the Ghost God. It was abnormally powerful. Back then, Lin Xian had an agreement with the Ghost God. When he obtained the Rinnegan in the future, he would go to the 15th level of hell to save the other party. Now, he came to hell again and obtained the Rinnegan. If he saved the other party, he could also ask about the Xia family situation. White Bone Mountain. There was a mountain on the 15th level of hell. It was very tall and had a cold aura. These were the bones of countless experts. There were humans, demonic beasts, and demons. There were experts from all the 10,000 ancient races. At this moment, two figures landed. It was Lin Xian and Xia Jiuyo. Xia Jiuyo looked at the White Bone Mountain and exclaimed, "What a terrifying cold aura." Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and said, "Yes, this is the aura. It should be here. Let's go and open the White Bone Mountain. Let's see what's inside." Although the White Bone Mountain was cold, there were many people around it. These were all cultivators with cold auras. The martial artists in the infernal realm all cultivated the power of the heart. Therefore, the White Bone Mountain was a holy land for cultivation. Not to mention the surroundings of White Bone Mountain. Even on White Bone Mountain, there were experts cultivating there, absorbing the terrifying power of the laws. At this moment, the young people beside him heard Lin Xian's words and immediately laughed disdainfully. Where did this bumpkin come from? Open the White Bone Mountain? Do you know what kind of place this is? With your strength, it's difficult to climb the mountain. Open the White Bone Mountain? Ouch. I'm dying of laughter. The people who spoke looked young and wore luxurious clothes. They were surrounded by the laws of the Great Path. Evidently, they were part of their identities. In fact, they even had some monstrous beasts as their pets. These demonic beasts were extremely powerful. When the others saw this group of young people, they immediately lowered their heads and made way. In their hearts, they were afraid of such people. They couldn't provoke them. Lin Xian glanced at these people and directly ignored them. Others were afraid, but he didn't care. In his eyes, these people were no different from ants. Once they angered him, he could pinch them to death with a stretch of his hand. Seeing Lin Xian ignore them, one of the young people in armor frowned. I'm talking to you. Can't you hear me? What do you think this white bone mountain is? Hurry up and admit your mistake. Otherwise, the experts on the white bone mountain will kill you. Xia Zhuyo frowned slightly. How dare a young man be so presumptuous in front of them? I think I've seen you before. Did you appear in the Luo family back then? At this moment, a woman in green looked at Lin Xian and said, Oh, you've seen me before? Lin Xian was also surprised. Do you have anything to do with the Luo family? When he came to Earth Prison to look for the wordless sky steel, he did go to the Luo family. No. The woman in green shook her head. I just passed by the Luo family. I heard that there was a genius in the Luo family who was a disciple of Emperor Ming. Later, I investigated and found that he was just an ordinary disciple, so I didn't pay much attention to him. After hearing this, the others immediately looked disdainful. So that's how it is. Compared with them, the Luo family is thousands of miles away. This person was a friend of the Luo family. In front of them, he was just an ant. He couldn't be compared with them at all. Thinking of this, the man in armor looked even more disdainful. How dare a few ants ignore them? They really don't know what's good for them. The woman in green also said, Hurry up and leave. The White Bone Mountain is not a place you can come to. Take advantage of the fact that the experts on the mountain haven't gotten angry yet. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will die. You will really die here. Chapter 5995. The woman in green from before was called Yin Feifei, and the arrogant man in armor was called Xiang Yun. He was from the Hell Elephant clan. The Hell Elephant clan was also a big clan on the 15th level of Hell. They were known for their extraordinary strength. Xiang Yun was used to being arrogant. Now that he saw Lin Xian and Yin Feifei, he was very unfamiliar with them. Moreover, there were no masters with them. After hearing Yin Feifei's words, he felt that these two people were just ants, so he didn't take them seriously at all. As for the other young men, they were also disciples of large families. Their faces were also filled with arrogance. At this time, Xiang Yun walked out again and said, Today I'm in a good mood. I'll teach you a lesson. This White Bone Mountain is not a place where you can behave atrociously. Here, even a dragon has to coil up, and even a tiger has to lie down. Not to mention you. Hurry up and leave. With that, he sneered and turned to leave. Lin Xian's face darkened. This guy is too full of himself, isn't he? Even though I ignored him, he ignored him because the other party was not worthy of being his opponent. However, the other party was so provocative. He could only teach the other party a lesson. Hearing Lin Xian's cold snort, the people in front also stopped. One of them laughed and said, What, you're not convinced? Unfortunately, it's useless. You're too weak. This is a world where strength is respected. It's useless even if you're not convinced. This was like young Master Yun. However, the top geniuses of the Hell Xiang clan are not people you can provoke. In their opinion, Lin Xian and the others would definitely be scared out of their wits. However, Lin Xian said coldly, I don't care if you're an Hell Elephant or a Hell Panther. Get over here. I didn't want to attack at first, but you've gone too far. Kneel on the ground, kowtow 10 times, and give me 30 slaps, and I'll let you leave. Otherwise, I'll cripple you. He said, What? Kneel and kowtow? The people opposite were all stunned, thinking that there was something wrong with their ears. Who were they? They were all geniuses of big clans. They were high and mighty and could do whatever they wanted here, especially Xiang Yun, who was a super genius of the Hell Xiang clan, who dared to provoke him. In addition, the other women also sneered. The woman in green, Yin Feifei, sighed. These people thought that they were still in the Luo family. In this place, if one was arrogant without strength, they would definitely die. However, Since she had met Lin Xian once, she wanted to advise Lin Xian. Before she could speak, Xiang Yun was already furious. He snorted coldly. "Are you talking to me, your young master? Looks like you really don't know what's good for you. This young master's good mood is gone. I plan to capture you and torture you to death." After saying that, he threw out a punch. The surrounding people exclaimed. Someone sneered. "This kid is dead for sure. Xiang Yun's strength is terrifying. Even a great sage would die without a doubt." Boom, an earth-shattering sound rang out, and the smiles on the faces of those people disappeared. They realized that the situation ahead had changed. It was different from what they had imagined. Xiang Yun retreated. One of his arms had turned into a bloody mess. He fell to the ground and screamed. "Ah, damn it, you dare to hurt me." He was incomparably miserable. What's going on? Xiang Yun was injured. This was impossible, right? Could it be that this kid was an expert? Everyone saw Lin Xian point his finger. Immediately, Xiang Yun's other arm also cracked and turned into a bloody mist. Everyone gasped. What kind of strength was this? He waved his finger lightly and seriously injured Xiang Yun. Could it be that he was a quasi-emperor? These people were crazy. After all, Xiang Yun's strength was one of the top among the great sages, unless he met a quasi-emperor. However, they had never heard of such a young quasi-emperor. Lin Xian's finger was still waving. One of his legs was broken, and so was the other. More and more bones in Xiang Yun's body were broken. Still not willing to kowtow? Then I'll send you to hell. Lin Xian stared at the other party's head. Xiang Yun was frightened. He hurriedly knelt on the ground and said, "Don't do it. I'll kowtow." He began to kowtow. The scene was terrifyingly quiet. Only the sound of kowtowing could be heard at that moment. Regardless of whether it was Yin Fei or the other proud celestial maidens and young masters, they were all stunned. In fact, their bodies even began to tremble. "You're dead for sure. The Xiang family won't forgive you." Among them, a man wearing a battle robe exclaimed. As soon as he finished speaking, he was sent flying by a slap. Immediately, his body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. Even his soul was seriously injured. Everyone realized that Lin Xian had only turned his gaze, and with just one look, he had beaten them to such a state. This person was too terrifying. He was definitely a quasi-emperor. "Who else wants to challenge me?" Lin Xian said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Those geniuses on the other side were so scared that their scalps went numb. They didn't dare to say anything anymore. At this moment, a white-haired woman said, "Although you are powerful and have the cultivation base of a quasi-emperor, you are still very powerful. However, you still got into trouble. The hellish race had more than one quasi-emperor. There were even more terrifying existences." "Yes," the others also said, "we are no match for you, but the families behind us are not something you can challenge. Our family has countless experts." Xiang Yun seemed to have come back to his senses. He gritted his teeth and said, "You hurt me this time. Our hellish race will never let you go. The experts in our family are 100 times more powerful than you." "Oh, really? Are the experts in your family very powerful? Now I'll show my strength and see if they are as powerful as me." After saying that, Lin Xian walked forward. He stared at the white bone mountain. Then he shouted coldly. A sword came. Countless laws condensed in the air, forming a sword of laws which was held by Lin Xian. Then he slashed forward with the sword. Damn, what does this kid want to do? God, he wants to split the White Bone Mountain. Is he crazy? The White Bone Mountain was so terrifying. It was a holy land for cultivation. By doing this, he was making an enemy of the entire hell. Countless exclamations sounded. In the distance, on the White Bone Mountain, those experts who were cultivating also opened their eyes one after another. They roared. Who is it? Why is he so reckless? These experts charged over angrily. It's over. This kid is dead for sure. Xiang Yun and the others thought. However, Lin Xian looked calm. Beside him, Xia Jiu also sighed. How can these people be? How can they be a match for Lin Xian? The sword of laws in the sky fell mercilessly. Sensing the sword chi, those experts no longer dared to be arrogant. They were terrified. No, run. This sword chi is not something we can resist. Which expert is it? Senior, we were wrong. Some people were terrified, and some had already knelt on the ground and kowtowed before they could run. In the next moment, they were sent flying by the sword chi. Boom. The sword light burst out, enveloping the world. The white bone mountain in front shook violently. Then, under everyone's shocked gaze, it split in half. What? He actually split the white bone mountain. The white-haired woman was shocked, the man in the battle robe was stunned, and Xiang Yun and the others almost fainted. As for the other experts, they all knelt on the ground in fear. Senior, who are you? Senior, please forgive us for offending you. The holy land of cultivation in their eyes was so easily shattered in the hands of the other party. This was the arrival of a supreme existence. Chapter 5996. However, the expressions of some cultivators changed drastically. Humph, he's too arrogant. No one is allowed to behave atrociously in the White Bone Mountain. Another old man also said, that's right. Legend has it that many terrifying existences are suppressed under the White Bone Mountain. Once these people come out, they will sweep across the world. This person has disturbed the supreme existence of the White Bone Mountain. He will die without a doubt. In the next moment, countless roars came from the cracked White Bone Mountain. Who split the White Bone Mountain? Who is disturbing our rest? Countless crazy roars came, causing the scalps of the surrounding people to go numb. Some of the old men looked ferocious. Look, he's looking for trouble. He will die without a doubt. Boom. At the same time, a huge monster appeared in the White Bone Mountain. This colossus was extremely terrifying. Its pitch-black body carried surging power and terrifying killing intent that swept across the sky. The laws on it seemed to penetrate the world. At this moment, everyone's soul trembled. What was that? This was a supreme existence of hell. Everyone looked up at the sky and saw the black figure spread its wings. The black wings covered the sky and covered the earth, enveloping a part of the sky. The light in the entire space dimmed. In an instant, everyone was scared out of their wits. At this moment, Yin Fei said, "This is the aura of our eagle tribe. Could it be that he's one of our powerhouses?" Hearing this, the white-haired woman, Xiang Tian, and the others all turned to look at her. "What did you say? Your Yin tribe has such a powerhouse? Impossible. I've never heard of him." "No," Yin Fei said, "our eagle tribe does have a supreme powerhouse. He's an ancestor of our eagle tribe. His name is Ing Wufeng." "What? Ing Wufeng?" When they heard this, the surrounding people were stunned. They had heard of this name before, but it was a figure from hundreds of thousands of years ago. He was in existence in the myths and legends. According to the legends, that person disappeared later. Back then, he was an expert who swept across hell. After he disappeared, many families secretly heaved a sigh of relief. They didn't expect him to appear again. Moreover, he appeared in the White Bone Mountain. Could it be that the reason why he disappeared back then was because he was suppressed under the White Bone Mountain? What happened 700,000 years ago? What kind of powerhouse could suppress Ing Wufeng? Everyone was stunned. At the same time, Xiang Fei laughed excitedly. "This kid is dead for sure. He's offended Senior Ing Wufeng. He's dead for sure." He looked at Lin Xian smugly. "Kid, so what if you're strong?" No matter how strong you are, you're not Senior Ing Wufeng's match. The experts in the distance were also discussing spiritedly. However, Yin Feifei said, "Young master, kneel down and kowtow to my family's patriarch. I will plead for you. Perhaps you can live. If I kneel down and kowtow to him, will he be able to bear it?" Lin Xian said disdainfully as he looked at the huge figure. Everyone was stunned. This guy was looking down on Yin Wufeng. Heavens, where did his courage come from? Even Yin Feifei was furious. "You can't afford to offend our patriarch. You're going to die for being so stubborn." Who was it? The mountain of white bones was split open. In the sky, the cold voice sounded again. Xiang Yun pointed at Lin Xian and said, "Senior, it's him. It's him who split open the mountain of white bones. Senior, if you want to blame someone, blame him alone. This kid deserves to die." "Yes, it's me," Lin Xian said lightly. He didn't panic at all. In the sky, the huge figure lowered its head and looked down at all living beings. It was as if it was looking at ants. However, when it saw Lin Xian, its pupils suddenly constricted. In the next moment, the huge figure bowed deeply to Lin Xian. "Greetings, young master. What's going on?" Xiang Yin was dumbfounded. The white-haired woman and the others were trembling in fear. Even Yin Feifei was stunned. Their family's patriarch from 700,000 years ago was bowing to a young man. The experts in the distance roared crazily. "Impossible! My eyes are playing tricks on me. Damn it, I'm not dreaming. Am I? Isn't Ing Wufeng said to be arrogant and unruly? Why would he bow to a young man? Who on earth was this young man?" Even Xia Zhuoyo was surprised. He could feel the terror of the huge figure in front of him, but he didn't expect it to be so polite to Lin Xian. What had happened between the two of them? Was this the person Lin Xian wanted to save? He was indeed very strong. Looking ahead, Lin Xian said lightly, "I'm not too late, am I?" "Not at all, not at all. I'm already very grateful that you can come." Ing Wufeng's voice was full of excitement, although the two of them had an agreement before. So what if the other party didn't come? He couldn't do anything to the other party. "Senior, please spare my life." Xiang Yun was so scared that he hurriedly knelt down and begged for mercy. Even the terrifying Ing Wufeng had bowed. How could he still be arrogant? The white-haired woman, the man in battle robes, and the others were also scared pale. Ing Wufeng lowered his head and said with a frown, "What's going on? How dare you offend Lin Gongzi? Do you want to die?" A terrifying aura descended. Xiang Yun and the others went crazy and were about to despair. At this time, Yin Feifei also knelt down and said, "Greetings, ancestor." Ing Wufeng said, "I feel the bloodline of my family in you. Are you from the Eagle tribe?" "That's right." Yin Feifei nodded. At the same time, she recounted what had happened earlier. Hearing this, Ing Wufeng snorted coldly. "Anyone who dares to offend Lin Gongzi will die without a doubt." He slapped down with his palm, and a burst of aura directly tore Xiang Yun to pieces. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. A top genius of the Xiang family died. Just like that, Ing Wufeng snorted, "What can a mere hell elephant tribe do to me? When I get out, if he dares to be arrogant, I'll destroy his hell elephant tribe." A loud voice came. At the same time, he spread his wings and wanted to leave. However, there was a huge chain below that locked him. He was sealed. The legend was true. Ing Wufeng had been sealed. Could it be that he could leave? Someone shook his head. "It's useless. He hasn't left for 700,000 years. How can he leave now? Please save me." "Young master, I'll definitely repay you," Ing Wufeng said excitedly. Lin Xian nodded. "Remember what you said. I do have something that I need you to do." "Young master, just ask. I'll do anything you want." Ing Wufeng had been waiting for this day for many years. These chains weren't ordinary chains. Swords couldn't hurt them, and laws couldn't destroy them. Only the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation could help him leave, and Lin Xian was his hope. Lin Xian walked over. He said to Yin Fei and the others, "Leave. You can't bear the power that's coming." Ing Wufeng also roared, "Those who have nothing to do with it, get out of here." Fei and the others quickly left. The other strong masters still wanted to watch, but in the next moment, they fled in fear. Because Lin Xian had opened the Rinnegan, a transcendent power erupted, and everyone's souls seemed to be sucked in. They fled frantically. Only Xiajuya was still standing there. Xiajuya was also shocked. How terrifying. This is a complete Rinnegan, right? The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation was indeed strong. Lin Xian's Rinnegan had already erupted. The 6 paths of reincarnation turned into a world. It enveloped Ing Wufeng. Chapter 5997. The aura of the 6 paths of reincarnation appeared in front of him. It was extremely terrifying. It was as if it wanted to destroy the entire world. The surrounding people were all frightened. Was this the strength of that young man? Especially Yin Fei and the others, their faces were pale. Now that they thought about it, Xiang Yun's death was not unjust. Even if Ing Wufeng did not make a move, this young man alone was enough to kill Xiang Fei 100 times. Even if all of them combined, they would probably not be able to resist one of his fingers. Who exactly was this young man? Between heaven and earth, there was a rumble, and the light of the 6 paths of reincarnation disappeared. In the next moment, a black shadow soared into the sky, spreading its wings and sweeping across the world like a dark cloud. At the same time, a roar was heard. "I'm finally out, ha ha!" His voice shattered heaven and earth. In the next moment, the behemoth disappeared and turned into a middle-aged man in black. This man was tall and had a sharp face. His eyes were cold and sharp like a blade. He descended like a peerless overlord. In the next moment, he bowed to Lin Xian again. "Thank you, young master, for saving my life. I, Yin Wufeng, am extremely grateful. It's nothing. It's a piece of cake for me. By the way, I have to ask you to do something for me." "What is it?" "Please tell me." "Young master," Ing Wufeng said. He was extremely shocked. The other party was much stronger than the last time he saw him. The 6 paths of reincarnation were too perfect. The other party had already condensed a complete Rinnegan. Such a person's future was limitless. He might even reach the level of an earth immortal. Therefore, he naturally did not dare to be presumptuous. 2 things. First, help me investigate the situation of the Xia family. The more detailed, the better. Second, I need resources. I need countless resources, enough to make a 10-crown king become a great emperor. Is young master going to break through and become an earth immortal? Yin Wufeng was surprised. 10-crown king was already so terrifying. If he became a great emperor, his strength would increase tremendously. Lin Xian did not say anything about this. It was not him who became a great emperor, but Xia Juyo. Of course, he did not tell Yin Wufeng. However, Yin Wufeng frowned. The Xia family? Even though he had been sealed for 700,000 years, he also knew how terrifying the Xia family was. "Is there a problem?" Lin Xian asked. "To be honest with young master, both of these things are difficult. First, let's talk about the resources needed to become a martial emperor. Under normal circumstances, only one person could become a great emperor in an era which meant that every 10,000 years, the resources he absorbed were all the essence of the universe. After he became a great emperor, no one else would be able to become a great emperor within 10,000 years. Of course, things were different now. Now that the immortal earth descended, the 9 heavens, 10 earths appeared. Therefore, his chances of becoming a great emperor were many times higher than before. However, it was not easy to become a great emperor. I can only say that I've tried my best to collect as much as I can, but I'm not sure how much I can collect in the end. There was no harm in that. Lin Xian nodded. Before he came here, a few martial monarchs had told him the details of achieving the martial monarch realm. Not only him, but Xia Juyo was also aware of this. Therefore, they were not worried about this. As long as the time was right, the power of all the worlds in the universe would pour into the body of the person who had become a martial emperor. What Lin Xian wanted to do was to accumulate power for Xia Juyo to reach that time. Opposite him, Ying Wufeng said, as for the Xia family, they are very scary. They are not on the 15th level of hell, but the 16th. He is a mystery to us. I can't guarantee how much information I can collect. Seeing the other party, he wanted to say something but stopped. Lin Xian said, "What else?" "Just say it." Ying Wufeng nodded. "Young master, I don't know. What's the use of you looking for information about the Xia family? However, I still want to say that you better not be enemies with the Xia family. You don't have to think too much about this. This is between me and the Xia family. When the time comes, you don't need to care or help. Hurry up and do it." "I know." Ying Wufeng nodded. "Follow me back to the family first." "Okay." Lin Xian and Xia Juyo followed. The two of them rose into the air. "Wait, forefather, I'm going home too." At this moment, Yin Feifei also flew over from behind. She said, "In the past 10,000 years, there have been some changes in the family. It's not where it used to be. I'll take you there." The place where the Eagle clan was located had indeed changed from 700,000 years ago. This made Ying Wufeng frown. "What's going on?" "The original place is better," Yin Feifei said. "Although our Eagle clan is on the 4th or 5th level, we are also a top family. However, in recent years, we have been weaker than some other families. Now, the most powerful family is the Nether clan. In addition, the Nine-Headed Snake clan and the All-Devil clan are also very powerful. We are ranked very low among the top families. Those people are really useless. After I left, didn't a single strong person appear?" Ying Wufeng was exasperated. Yin Feifei said, "Not really. A group of top masters also appeared in our family. However, other families have more. However, the situation has changed now. Forefather, you are back. Our family's strength will change dramatically. Don't worry, I will let the Eagle clan stand at the top again." Ying Wufeng sped up. Before long, they arrived at the Eagle clan. When the news was sent back, the people of the Eagle tribe were all stunned. At first, they didn't believe it. What kind of joke is this? Ying Wufeng was from 700,000 years ago. How could he still be alive? However, when they saw Ying Wufeng, they were all stunned. It really was the forefather. Heavens! The forefather's portrait was exactly the same as the one hanging in the ancestral hall. Impossible, unless he revealed his true form. Ying Wufeng snorted. "Stupid things, are you doubting me? Fine, I'll show you." He rose into the air and transformed into a terrifying black eagle. He spread his wings and a terrifying aura swept out. At this moment, the Eagle clan members all knelt down in excitement. It's the forefather. It really is the forefather. Greetings, forefather. They knelt on the ground. In the distant hall, an old man walked out. He was the current patriarch of the Eagle clan and was very powerful. He was an extremely terrifying existence among the 9 crown kings. It was said that he was not far from becoming a great emperor. Apart from him, there were also a few supreme elders and core elders. They had all rushed over. Looking at Ying Wufeng in the sky, they also bowed deeply. "Greetings, forefather. Your strength is not bad." Seeing the power of the Eagle clan's clan chief, Ying Wufeng nodded his head in satisfaction. Then he landed beside Lin Xian and said, "This is Lin Gongzi, my benefactor. Come and greet him. This is Elder Xia, Lin Gongzi's friend." "Thank you, Lin Gongzi." Some of the younger disciples bowed one after another. As for those utmost exalted elders, the clan chief and the others, they stood there motionlessly. What kind of joke was this? Bowing to a young man? Ing Wufeng frowned when he saw this scene. What? Have you become more and more unruly in the years I've been away? Are you not going to bow to my benefactor? He exuded a terrifying aura. Xia Jiuyou was expressionless. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and said, "Forget it. You just need to do what I told you to do." Lin Xian knew that he wasn't the only one who had come to hell, but also the Paragon Temple. He didn't want to be too ostentatious. After all, he didn't want to attract his enemies at this time. At least, he had to save Xia Xingchen first. Chapter 59-98. He refused to greet the people of his family. Ing Wufeng also shook his head and sighed. You guys really missed out on a great opportunity. If you could catch Lin Gongzi's attention and follow him, you would benefit immensely in your life. Follow him? Just because of this young man? The experts of the Eagle tribe looked disdainful. Lin Xian also shook his head. He said, "No need. They are not qualified to follow me. All right, I'm tired." Not qualified? This time, the young geniuses of the Eagle tribe were also angry. This guy was too arrogant. Their Eagle clan was one of the top clans here. Only a few clans could contend against them. Only a few people could defeat them, and the others had to submit to them. But now he said that they were not qualified. Who did this kid think he was? A great emperor? Humph! How was that possible? Men, take this young master to rest, the leader of the Eagle tribe said. Immediately, two young men walked over and said, "Come with me." Their attitude was really cold. He arranged for Lin Xian and Xia Jiuyou to stay in a remote hall. The young men then left. After they walked out, they said, "Humph, what's there to be proud of? What can a young genius do, no matter how powerful he is? That's right, he really thinks he's a great emperor. How dare he say that we are not qualified? I think the great ancestor has been deceived by him. We have to let the elders persuade the great ancestor. This kid is obviously a liar." They went back and reported the news to the elders. The elders also frowned. They said, "Don't worry, we will tell the great ancestor when we see him later." In another majestic hall, a group of elders and experts, as well as the clan leader, were all standing there. In front of them was Ing Wufeng. At this moment, the elders were also asking Ing Wufeng about the situation over the years. At this moment, an elder said, "Great ancestor, the young man you brought is really too arrogant. He actually said that we are not qualified." "That's right. Who is he? Is he very powerful? Why are we afraid of him? Could it be that our clan can't beat him?" At this moment, the patriarch of the Eagle tribe also spoke. He said, "I don't like this young man either. If the old ancestor is truly indebted to him, we will give him a batch of natural treasures and then let him leave. Let's not interact with each other anymore." "That's right. Tell this brat to leave as soon as possible." The surrounding people were also discussing spiritedly. Ing Wufeng sighed when he saw this. He waved his hand and set up a spell formation to cover the entire hall. Then he said, "Do you all think the same way?" He looked to the supreme elders. The other grand elders nodded in agreement. Ing Wufeng said, "You guys are too ignorant. You're lucky you didn't show it. Otherwise, not only would the benefits be gone, it might even lead to the destruction of the clan. That brat?" The surrounding elders were filled with disdain. The Eagle clan leader also said, "Ancestor, tell us, who is he? I've never heard of any young man who is so powerful. Have you really never heard of it? That clan has really declined in recent years. Don't you know? Not long ago, there was a great battle in the deity ground. A young man killed a great emperor." "What? Killing a great emperor? That's impossible, right?" The surrounding people were all stunned. Even the Supreme Elder's expressions changed greatly. As for the Eagle Clan's clan leader, he sucked in a breath of cold air. He seemed to have thought of something, but he wasn't sure. One of the elders said, "That's impossible, right? Great emperors were the strongest of an era. Although many great emperors had awakened, far more than before, they wouldn't die so easily. That's right. Great emperors were so powerful that a single drop of their blood could crush 10,000 worlds. How could they die so easily? Not to mention, they were killed by a young man. Did that young man have 3 heads and 6 arms? They all knew about the martial monarchs. After all, they had spent countless years building up their reputation. In every era, a great emperor would descend to rule the universe and sweep through the ages. However, as for the other young chosen from the hell of hell, that was not necessarily the case. Not to mention, they were on the 15th level of hell. Perhaps they were more concerned about the lower levels and the 9 Serenities realm. There were a few other young geniuses in the Great Hall. They were the future hope of the clan. One of the geniuses said, "Venerable ancestor, are you saying that the young man who killed the great emperor is the same kid from today?" As soon as those words were spoken, the others also widened their eyes and looked at Ing Wufeng. Ing Wufeng said, "Of course it's him. Why else would I be so respectful of him? You people are not even comparable to me. A sealed guy?" Ing Wufeng was furious. Although he was sealed, he could still move around a little. For example, he could be summoned by others or trade with other experts on the Skeleton Mountain for information, and so on. Therefore, Ing Wufeng knew about the major events that were happening outside. But not many people in the clan seemed to know about it. That's impossible, right? That young man looks about the same age as me. How can he be so powerful? That's right, he killed a great emperor. Could it be that he was also a great emperor? Such a young great emperor. Which era is he from? They discussed fervently. Even now, they still couldn't believe it. A venerated elder said, "If you say he defeated a great emperor, that's still possible. After all, there are strong and weak great emperors. But it's really too difficult to kill a great emperor. It has to be more than 10 times the power. Only then can he kill a great emperor. After all, a great emperor's methods were too strong. Even a wisp of his soul could escape and be reborn." How could he die? Ing Wufeng snorted. "Idiot! He didn't just kill one great emperor. He's already killed several great emperors. He even defeated a few martial monarchs on his own, in the higher heavens. Don't you know about it?" Qin Nan said, "He'd killed more than one great emperor. He'd defeated several great emperors." He'd smiled proudly. These things were like a sudden clap of thunder that struck the hearts of these people. They were all dumbfounded. How was this possible? This time, the elites of the Eagle tribe all went crazy. The kid they thought was arrogant actually had such power. Who was he? Ing Wufeng said, "When you see him, you'd better treat him with the same respect as you treat me. Otherwise, I won't be able to save you. All right, you can all leave. I'm tired." Ing Wufeng waved his hand. Everyone bowed and left. After leaving the hall, they still couldn't believe it. Some elders looked at the leader and said, "Leader, is there really such a powerful young man?" The leader took a deep breath. "There is one. But is it this kid? I don't know." A name appeared in the leader's mind. This name was too famous. But would he come here? As for the other young geniuses, they didn't believe it. Several geniuses gathered around a handsome man. They said, "Brother Ing Li, is what the ancestor said true? That guy was so powerful." Ing Li was the #1 genius of the Eagle tribe. When he heard this, his lips curled up. The ancestor has been sealed for so many years. How could he know about the outside world? Therefore, he was sure that he had been deceived. Chapter 5999. Coincidentally, in 2 days, there will be a gathering of the younger generation. At that time, we will invite this kid to spar with him. Does he have the strength or not? We'll know once we try. If he really has the ability, then fine. If he doesn't, I'll let him make a fool of himself in front of everyone." The corners of Lee's mouth curled up into a smile. The others also smiled. "Yes, that's right. Let's do that." On the other side, Lin Xian sent a voice transmission to Wufeng, asking him to quickly inquire about the Xia family. Also start preparing and gathering resources. Also, he asked him to give him a map of the 15th level of hell and the distribution of the family forces. Wufeng hurriedly went to get the map and quickly handed it to Lin Xian. As for the other two matters, Wufeng found the patriarch and the 3 grand elders. When the patriarch heard about the Xia family, his expression changed. "Ancestor, you know that the Xia family is not an existence we can provoke. You don't have to worry about this. I don't want to provoke them. I just need to collect information about them for the past 10,000 years. Also, take an inventory of our family's resources and the approximate amount of resources of the other sects and families. Give me a report." "I got it." The patriarch frowned. He really didn't know what Wufeng wanted to do. On the other side, after Lin Xian received the map, he opened it and looked. Other than the Eagle family, there were a few other families. They were all top families. They almost controlled most of the resources of the 15th level of hell. For example, the Hydra family, the Chiefeng family, the Moro family, and the Serene Bamboo family. Among them, the strongest was the Serene family. Although the Eagle family was also strong, they were at the bottom of these sections. The Serene family? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. This was the #1 family. If he suppressed it and subdued the other families, he would be able to gather a batch of resources. These resources, together with some of the power in the sword world, would be given to Xia Juyo. Let Xia Juyo reach a critical point. Once he reached the critical point of becoming an emperor, there was no need to care about what happened next. He could let Xia Juyo go to the universe and absorb the power of the myriad worlds. He would come to the universe and become an emperor. What kind of impact would Xia Juyo be the first to become an emperor? Lin Xian didn't know. Perhaps no one in this universe could become the second great emperor. Perhaps because of the arrival of the celestial ground, someone could break through and become the second great emperor. However, Lin Xian was not worried. This was because Lin Xian had the ancient lands. He could attain the martial emperor realm in the ancient lands. Furthermore, in every place in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, one could achieve the martial monarch realm. In fact, it was even possible for more than one person to become a martial emperor. Otherwise, Permitha wouldn't have been able to absorb so many great emperors. Lin Xian possessed the ancient lands. Therefore, in the future, if Qingcheng, Yan Ruyu, and the others wanted to become martial monarchs, they could come to his ancient lands. Furthermore, Lin Zhan and the others were also attacking the land of heaven. Once they took down Shangqing City, others could even become martial emperors in the Azure Land. It would take some time to gather information. Lin Xian prepared to go out for a stroll. Xia Jiao, on the other hand, stayed in the hall. He needed to calm himself down. There were many things that he needed to do. He couldn't make any mistakes. On this day, a few geniuses from the Eagle tribe came over and invited Lin Xian to attend a small gathering. "Brother Lin, you're also a young genius. Why don't you come with us?" "All right." Lin Xian nodded. After all, he had nothing better to do. "Please." The few of them invited Lin Xian away. Looking at the others' back, the corners of their mouths curled up into a smile. "Kid, you'll find out soon enough that this gathering won't be so easy." The Lotus platform was a very famous place in the 15th level of hell. There were pavilions and halls all over the Lotus platform. All kinds of geniuses, experts, and fairies could be seen everywhere. Any one of them could shock a region. The lotus platform was surrounded by black water. Ordinary experts would instantly turn into bones if they entered the black water. Only warships made of special metals could survive. At this moment, a warship flew towards the lotus platform. There were a few people standing on the warship. The leader was Ingli. Ingli stood with his hands behind his back. Wherever he went, many people greeted him. "Greetings, Prince Ingli. This is the #1 genius of the Eagle tribe. I'm really lucky to be able to meet you today." Countless exclamations sounded. Ingli's lips curled up, his eyes filled with arrogance. This was the true identity that he should have. He didn't believe that there was a young man more powerful than him. When he came to the lotus platform, a middle-aged man hurried over with his entourage. "Prince Ingli, you haven't been here for some time. Please come in." Ingli nodded. "This time, I've brought a guest from my family. You have to treat him well." "Don't worry, I understand." The middle-aged man smiled. "Everyone, please come in." He led the group of people to a magnificent palace hall. Then he clapped his hands, and all kinds of beauties immediately walked over to him. Some of them were from the human tribe, some were from the demon tribe, and some were led by him. In total, there were over 100 of them. The middle-aged man smiled and said, "These are beauties from the 100 clans. Each one is different." Prince Ingli nodded with satisfaction. He looked at Lin Xian and said, "Which one do you like?" "Choose yourself. This is a rare opportunity." He meant that if he missed this opportunity, Lin Xian wouldn't be able to see the beauties of the 100 clans. Lin Xian was expressionless. He even looked down on everyone. How could these 100 clans be called beauties? Compared to those he had seen before, they were far inferior. Lin Xian had Morong Qingcheng, Yanryu Shinjingqiu, and Xueqi. Every single one of them was like a celestial maiden from the 9 heavens, causing the myriad worlds to exclaim in admiration. They were the real peerless fairies. The people in front of him couldn't be compared to them. "You don't like them?" Ingli was stunned. The geniuses of the Eagle tribe around him sneered. "Why are you pretending?" They didn't believe that Lin Xian wasn't tempted. Lin Xian picked up a glass of wine, took a sip, and said indifferently, "Do whatever you want. Don't worry about me." He sat there with a calm expression, as if he made people forget his existence. In fact, if a real peerless master was here, he would find that Lin Xian had merged with heaven and earth. His realm had reached an unfathomable level. "Good boy, you can endure it. But later, I'll let you show your true colors." Ingli snorted. He waved his hand and said, "Fairies, come here." The fairies of the 100 clans all went over. Lin Xian was drinking alone. When he was bored, he formed a seal with his palm and sent out hundreds of doppelgangers in the sword world to dig for the treasures in the sword world. He didn't know this time. What could he dig out? After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, someone else came in from outside. These people were wearing different clothes, and their auras were equally powerful. They were here. The eyes of the Eagle tribe lit up. The people who came were the same as them. They were all from the top families. There were the Hydra clan, the Crimson Wind clan, and the All-Devil clan. As for those who had masters, they didn't seem to have come. The show was about to begin. After the top geniuses of the other families arrived, they looked at Ingli and the others. They said, "Ingli, what do you mean by taking the lead in organizing this party? Do you want to fight with me one-on-one? I remember that last time. You seem to have lost to me, right?" A man with 9 heads said. He was from the Hydra clan. Legend had it that the Hydra clan was very terrifying. They had 9 lives and were extremely powerful. Chapter 6000. Seeing the young master of the Hydra tribe. Eagle Lee snorted coldly. "I was careless last time, and this time I've cultivated well. I won't lose to you again." "Really? Then let's have a competition." The young master of the Hydra tribe was very arrogant. He directly jumped over, blooming with a powerful aura. Behind him, the phantom of the Hydra tribe appeared. It was like an ancient demonic beast that could sweep everything away. Feeling this aura, the people of the Eagle tribe all turned pale and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Even Eagle Lee gasped, as if he was facing a great enemy. The only one who remained calm was Lin Xian, who continued to sit there, as if nothing had happened. He didn't seem to care about anything. Seeing this scene, many people were surprised. "Who is this?" Eagle Lee also frowned. "Damn kid, why are you pretending?" Looking around, he smiled and said, "Let me introduce you. This is Lin Gongzi, a distinguished guest of our Eagle tribe." "Lin Gongzi? I've never heard of him. Is he very powerful?" The people around also frowned. Eagle Lee smiled and said, "Of course he's powerful. Even the elders of our Eagle tribe are in awe of him." "I don't believe it." The young master of the Hydra tribe walked over and said, "Let me see if you really have the ability." An even more terrifying aura bloomed from his body. Seeing this scene, Eagle Lee smiled. His move was called killing with a borrowed knife. He used the power of the Hydra tribe to fight Lin Xian. In this battle, Lin Xian lost or was injured. It had nothing to do with him. Even if the ancestor blamed him, he wouldn't be blamed. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but admire himself secretly. Lin Xian glanced at him, shook his head slightly, and said, "You want to fight with me? You don't deserve it." "What?" The people around were stunned. "Don't deserve it? Is this kid looking down on the young master of the Hydra tribe? Are you kidding me?" The young master of the Hydra tribe was the first among the younger generation of the Hydra tribe. On the 15th floor of Hell, he was ranked third among the younger generation. How terrifying was his strength? How dare he say he didn't deserve it? This brat was too arrogant. The people of the Eagle clan were also stunned. This guy was really good at pretending. However, departing Eagle sneered inwardly. "Keep acting. The more you act now, the more miserable you'll be later." He knew that even he wasn't Hydra's opponent. How could this kid defeat him? "Kid, I think you don't have the guts." Nine-headed Hydra was also furious. Flames of anger danced in his eyes. No one had ever dared to underestimate him. Lin Xian shook his head. "You really don't deserve it. To be honest, I'm quite disappointed. I thought there would be a genius that would make me happy this time, but I didn't expect it to happen. But now it seems that all of you are really too ordinary." "Too ordinary?" Everyone went crazy. They were all furious. This time, even Ing Li and the others were incomparably furious. They were all gnashing their teeth. Was the other party looking down on all of them? What kind of joke was this? This time, they had gathered a group of top-notch geniuses. "You're too arrogant. Brat, I want to fight you one-on-one. If you have the guts, come out and I'll slap you to death." The people of the Red Wind clan were also angry. The people of the Luo clan even snorted coldly. At this moment, a delicate voice sounded. "If he doesn't deserve it, what about me?" Everyone made way, and a figure walked over. It was a woman in a long green dress. Her face was extremely beautiful, far beyond the beauty of the 100 clans. The people around exclaimed, "Princess Luo." She actually came too. God, it was a blessing of 3 lifetimes to see Princess Luo. She was even more terrifying than young Master Hydra. She was the second-ranked genius on the 15th floor of Hell. Her appearance was unparalleled in the world. If they could get her favor, their lives would be worth it. The eyes of countless geniuses turned red. Even departing Eagle was no exception. This was the goal of countless geniuses. Lin Xian glanced at him and said, "Your strength is indeed stronger than his, but you still don't deserve it." Then he put down his wine glass and sighed again. No one on the 15th floor of Hell could fight. F***CK. Everyone couldn't stand it anymore. This time, not only did he despise the younger generation, but he also despised the entire 15th floor of Hell. None of them could fight. "You are too good at bragging." If any of the strong masters of these families jumped out, they would slap you to death. The people in the distance also exclaimed, "Who is this kid? He is too good at pretending." And the geniuses of the families around them were angry. "Kid, I want you to kneel down and apologize. You will die a horrible death." Even Princess Lua was so angry that her face turned pale and her body trembled. As the second-ranked genius, she was one of the top few in the clan. In fact, even the elders might not necessarily be a match for her. The only ones who could defeat her were the patriarch and a few of the grand elders. But now, she was actually being looked down upon by someone. "I'll give you a chance to fight with me. I'll give you a 3-move handicap, and I'll let you know how powerful I am." Lin Xian stood up and shook his head. "This gathering is really boring. It's a waste of my time. You guys can have fun by yourselves." Then he turned around and left. The people around were all stunned. Ying Li and the others were also dumbfounded. Did he just leave without a fight? His plan to kill with a borrowed knife failed. Damn it, this kid is too cunning. At this moment, a genius of the Hydra clan snorted coldly. "What do you mean he doesn't deserve it? I think he doesn't dare to, right?" That's right, he put himself on a high pedestal and then took the opportunity to escape. He is a coward. Yes, that's right, he is a coward. The people of the Red Wind clan and the Moro clan also snorted. The Hydra clan stared at Ying Li and said, "Who the hell is he? You didn't bring him here to tease us, did you?" Many people looked at Ying Li angrily. Ying Li was speechless. Why did he feel like he had lifted a rock and smashed it on his own foot? He said, "He is not a member of our family. He is really just a guest. I didn't know he was so arrogant. If you want to teach him a lesson, you don't have to give me face. Just do it." "No need." Princess Moro withdrew her hand and shook her head. "He is a coward. I don't think he has any strength." The Hydra clan young master also snorted. "I don't think he deserves it. He doesn't deserve to be my opponent. Let's fight on our own. Ying Li, you will be my opponent." Then they began to fight on their own to rank the geniuses again. Lin Xian left the hall and walked out. He looked up at the sky and sighed. "What is Tao?" Boom, boom. As his voice came out, thunder suddenly sounded in the sky. 5 thunderbolts danced wildly in the void, as if they were going to destroy everything. At this moment, all the people on the 15th level of hell felt it. They looked up in horror. What happened? The sky was clear for thousands of miles, but there was thunder. Who was challenging the heavenly Tao? In the hall, Princess Moro, the Hydra clan young master, Ying Li, and the others were all stunned. They felt that the thunderbolts in the sky seemed to be able to destroy them. Someone dared to challenge the heavenly Tao. Who was it? He was too reckless. As for those clan's supreme elders and clan chiefs, they were all astonished. Who on earth came from the 15th level of hell? You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.